Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator. It is the High Point MX Simulator National coming to you live here in Pennsylvania for the 4th round of 12. My name is Kellen Brower, ready to bring you guys the action as we conclude the first third of this 2022 championship with a fantastic racetrack here tonight, up and down and all around. We're going to show you guys around the racetrack here tonight, courtesy of a rather slow lap from myself, truly. We're going to try to show you guys what this track looks like. But the start into this first corner complex, it's a little bit different from the past maybe decade or so of racing here. They changed it up a few years back, and now it's just this long straightaway into a tight left-hand U-turn instead of this long left-hand sweeper it used to be in the first turn. Right through the Studio 8 hole shot award, then up to the top of the hill. Got this tricky section all the way back down the hill, though. Turning roller is going to be real tricky to get it right all night long, especially with the track breaking down. Then a little step off of the fire road right there into a really tricky rutted right-hand corner. You're on the brakes all the way into it, and you just have to hook one of those ruts and turn back up the hill slightly. Little double into another very tricky corner. It's kind of off camber, tailoring away from you all the way down the hill, just back and forth down to the lowest point in the valley here, and then you kind of work your way back up the hill a little bit right here through this right-hander. Real tricky uphill left-hand triple to the top right here. You're going to see guys trying to land and hook this inside rut. Again, myself, not the best at the game anymore, but still trying to hook that rut on the inside. This jump is going to be big tonight. It's kind of a quad, sometimes a triple, depends on how hard you hit it, and it's going to be tricky to get that right as well, especially coming out of that little valley of ruts. Then back through the valley again up to the first plateau of the fire roads, back through the valley to the other side. This entire racetrack built kind of just in one big valley, with the majority of it being on more or less the west side of the valley. But you can see this long left-hander around this big tree in the back. Then a real tricky drop down into a scrub single, carrying again more speed through the center of the valley up to the other side. Really tough to land right on the top of that step up and plant yourself to those inside lines, get a good drive through there to the far back of the track, and then this uphill here. This is Bradshaw Boulevard, very classic section here at High Point Raceway. Get over that little table, get back on the gas, and then a left-hander brings you pretty much all the way back down to the middle of the valley again. Two little kind of step downs off of the top here. Those are fire roads going through. They're going to see guys kind of launching as far down the hill as they can, getting late on the brakes into the corners. Long right-hand sweeper, and then back up to that first fire road to triple all the way up to the top of the hill, right in front of all the spectators here at the top. Left-hand 180 into the finish line jump, but we're not quite done just yet. A little right-hand sweeper down at the bottom of the hill carries you back past the mechanics area. You're going to see guys hauling the mail through here, then launching off of this single jump back across the start line into the wall corner. Little left-hand 90-degree corner then leads you back into the first turn complex, and that is a lap here tonight at High Point. Well, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 4th round of 12 in this 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship. It's been a fantastic championship so far, and really what we've seen in both classes is separation. We're seeing Payson Johnson and Logan Leitzel in both the 450 and 250 classes, respectively, really kind of dominating to start the season, and we're going to see whether or not that trend continues. Of course, throughout the field, though, it's been great racing throughout, whether you're looking at the lead battles or anywhere back on 5th or down to 10th. It seems like we found some good battles every single week, and we're looking forward to bringing you guys another set of great racing here tonight. So let's take a look at what happened in qualifying over the past day and a half or so of qualifying. These guys get the track on Tuesday. Of course, now it is Wednesday if you're watching this live with us here tonight. And they get the track on Tuesday. Alexis Leclerc, the fast Frenchman, 4-time national champion, has gone fastest at a 2:01.468, just narrowly edging Jack Haley to the mark on a 2:01.562. So a bit rare here tonight. We're seeing Payson Johnson, not your fastest qualifier. He has gone 2:01.9, your championship leader there down in third place. Matthias Janis, Bryce Whelan rounding out your top 5, and then the defending champion Tyler Lang there in P6. But what I'm noticing of these times, pretty close. It's not like a big gap at the front, just a 10th in it between the top 2, and then you have to go down to basically Tyler Lang in 6th place to find a full second of separation. And it seems like all those guys, give or take, could probably run those quality lap times over and over again for 30 minutes. We're going to look down the order a little bit. See, looks like we're going to have a small consolation race here tonight, and I'll explain what that is in just a moment. But if we move to the 250 motocross class, this is kind of the story that we've been seeing, especially these two riders right here, Logan Leitzel and Nathan Prynne. Now, Prynne is not the only rider aside from Leitzel to get a race victory this year, though Prynne has been the most recent one to stop Leitzel's long stretch of continued dominance to start the season, as he won the second moto last week out at Thunder Valley. But still, Leitzel holds a commanding championship lead, and it looks like he and Prynne are set to duel again here tonight at High Point. Frank Jackson, Seth Shirley, and Cade Matherly rounding out our top 5 positions there. And again, if we look down the order, it looks like we will indeed have another consolation race in this 250 class as well. As I mentioned, though, the standings, it has been a Payson Johnson walk away through the first 3 rounds. If you subdivided it all out, he's gained 10 points per round to start the season, and the only person that's really been even close to him in the last 2 weeks has been Tyler Lang, as Johnson has gone 1-1 in the last successive rounds, with Lang going 2-2 to try to match his pace. But definitely Johnson has been electric to start this 2022 season. We're going to see if Lang can fight back, try to claw some points back in his favor, or will someone like Leclerc maybe get things sorted out as we moved into the middle part of this championship. And then the 250 class, a lot of the same story here as well. Leitzel to the top with 144 points there, and Nathan Prynne on 111. So that's already a 33-point gap, again, through 3 rounds when there's only 25 points per moto on offer. Pretty large to see after just 6 motos ran a full moto lead in both classes. It's pretty rare that we've seen that actually in MX Simulator competition. So will this trend continue, or will perhaps moving to these East Coast tracks present a bit of a different challenge for our riders here tonight? The High Point Raceway, definitely a lot of ups and downs, as we had mentioned, but also a little bit different traction model than you're going to see on those West Coast tracks. It's going to be a little bit more grippy, and we're going to see guys trying to fight with that edge of traction, especially on these off-camber corners, as this track beautifully winds through the valleys here in Pennsylvania. And that's all coming up here in just a moment. As I mentioned, though, it does appear that we will have a consolation race, and it looks like they are already on the track getting ready to go. This will be the 250 consolation race, and we have, give or take, about 12 riders going to the line. So if you're new to AMA Esport Motocross Championship racing, this consolation race is essentially going to be a last chance qualifier. That means that 36 riders have already pre-qualified their way into the motos. The motos will pay points coming up in a little bit. But right now, these guys are trying to qualify into those final 4 spots to make up a 40-rider moto. And once we have those final 4 spots, then those riders will compete in that 40-rider moto. 2 motos will be ran, 25 points on the table in both of those situations. So we're just getting it started here tonight with a little bit of consolation race action. We're going to see who is still going to make it through into the main motos coming up here shortly. So as mentioned, 250 Consi going to the gate. We're going to see who will fill out those final 4 positions as we line up here for the first gate drop of the night at High Point. And though we are seeing the number 1 machine on your screen right there, that is not actually defending champion Payson Johnson. Looks like whoever Chris R here is just using Johnson's motorcycle here. But we're off and running in the consolation race. A couple guys trying to tuck to the far inside as we flow through that first corner, and it looks like Tyler Moore will get to the line first. But Leith Ness, the BCR 187, moving into the early race lead. And interestingly enough, it looks like we have some model updates that I don't have just yet, because normally I have a stock model replacement pack filling out all of the model lines, but Leith Ness there on some sort of stock model that I do not have, so apologies there. Rider going down in the background there has opened up a bit of a gap. It may have been Tyler Moore, but Brett Thomas has moved into second place. Jack Fowler there in third now with Ethan Gurst. Bit of a surprise here to see the 29 Panini machine in the consolation race, as that number 29 is his national number. So you can think of it in terms of a full season. He was more or less the 29th best rider in the world last year in the game. And kind of incredible to see him in a consolation race here tonight, but we'll see if he can make it through. Looks like he's going to get around Brett Thomas here at least to move into second place as they still chase down Leith Ness, our early race leader. So Gerst moving into that second position and trying to chase down Leith Ness. 187 BCR machine. Up to the top of the hill they go, out of the valley. That tricky step up right there. I feel like that's going to be problem area as the line into that corner gets a little bit dug out throughout the night. If you're new to MX Simulator racing, there is an erode system or terrain deformation system in the game. So the track will get worse as a moto goes on, but the caveat there is it will also reset every single time that the server restarts to start a new race. So what you're seeing right now is basically a fresh racetrack for these guys to ride on. It's going to get a little bit worn down in this 4-lap consolation race, but we'll definitely see it much more dug out and rutted, bumpy, choppy, and all of the above in those motos coming up a little bit later on. So Gerst has taken over the race lead. He will officially lead the first lap through here, and on to the second lap we go as Gerst tucks that inside line through that wall corner and takes us back through the starting complex, leading the way from Leith Ness. Jack Fowler, they're moving into third place with Ryan Swanson now moving into the final transfer spot, but it is Tyler Moore he is battling with, and Moore to the outside might have that spot. Oh, but contact there with Swanson puts Tyler Moore on the ground. That's going to allow Heinzelman, J.R. Reyes, Tyler Moore right there as well. Brett Thomas back into the mix. So this is a nice little fight right here coming down the downhill, trying to fight into these final transfer spots. Swanson just kind of following Jack Fowler down the hill right there. Brent Heitzelman trying to close that gap down from 5th place. 4 laps, the top 4 riders transfer through to the motos, and Heitzelman's going to get flopped around a little bit. Does not fully fall off the motorcycle. So in that regard, a nice save, but also a lot of time lost. And a position loss as well. J.R. Reyes went through. And Swanson jumping deep down the hill. Now he swaps and goes down. So Reyes is going to move into the final transfer spot. Tyler Moore goes to 5th. And there goes Heintzelman. He'll go back into 6th as Swanson goes from a transfer spot back into 10th. And that is how quickly things can change as Tyson Siebold, a.k.a. Tyson Johnson, now moving into the mix here with Christopher McPherson Jr. They are all chasing Brent Heintzelman. But Reyes is now in that final transfer spot. Wow, Ethan Gerst must have gone down because he is now trying to repass Jack Fowler. He'll get easily through on the 704 there, but Leith Ness has retaken the race lead. So Ness up to the top of the hill, was in 2nd place at the end of the first lap. Will now take over the race lead on to lap number 3, 2 laps to go. And he is comfortably in a transfer position. Gerst settles back in a second, but he clips his head on an inside tough block and goes down. So there goes Fowler and J.R. Reyes. Will he lose a transfer spot? He might just do so. Yes, Tyler Moore is going to go through right there and take over the final transfer spot. So we've lost a couple other riders that were in this battle. As Reyes, oh, and now Gerst gets together with Tyler Moore, and Heintzelman's going to go into the final transfer spot. These two are getting up as McPherson Jr. and Brett Thomas go by. So all these guys. Oh, and now Gerst gets together with Tyler Moore, and Ethan Gerst has gone from leading this race to losing several positions. Gets connected there with Chris R., and there is Tyson Johnson as well, as Gerst is going to just hop right around him, but he has quite a bit of work to do to get back to Brent Heintzelman, who is now in that final transfer spot. Change of position, trying to go on here as Brett Thomas from 6th tries to get around Christopher McPherson Jr. for 5th, but they still need to try to go chase down Brent Heintzelman. Look at that line there by Thomas. That's the preferred option if you can get it. Almost gets a nose in there to make the pass, but a little bit bumpy on exit as McPherson lays it over on the quad. And launching down the hill on the inside, Brett Thomas to the bottom of the hill there. We have a quick shout out in chat as Cody M donates $5. Shout out Frank the Tank Jackson and Johnny Padani. They're both making the top 5 tonight. Thanks, Kellen. Well, thank you, Cody, for the donation. And shout out, of course, to Frank the Tank Jackson and Johnny Padani, 2 guys that are certainly capable of making it into the top 5 in this 250 class a little bit later on tonight. So we'll see if they can make that happen. So the white flag will be waving this time by as Leith Ness comes down the hill to complete lap number 3 onto lap number 4. We're going to go on board here with J.R. Reyes for a moment. He's now moved into 2nd place. Give you an idea real quick of what the onboard perspective of this racetrack looks like if you were not with us at the start of the program. Jumping all the way up to that top of the hill through the inside, and there is that white flag waving as he jumps back down, getting on the gas through the mechanics area. So at this point, Reyes is comfortable in a transfer spot, and you might be privy to think that he would go try to chase down our race leader, Leith Ness, and try to pass him, but he also is vulnerable here. If he were to go down, he would be borderline, maybe not far enough away to still pick it up in a transfer position. That pop and that double, making it look pretty easy down the hill. Keeping that gap right about between 4 and 5 seconds between he and race leader Leith Ness, and it looks like it is likely going to stabilize at that one. Jack Fowler and Bren Heitzelman just trying to hold station here in 3rd and 4th. McPherson starting to close that gap down to Heitzelman, though. We'll see if he can put on the pressure late. 3 seconds is the gap. And at this point, really all you can do, I think, is just get it as close as you can. There is the possibility of penalties that would be applied post-race, and that is, if you're new to watching MX Simulator Racing here with us, there is a in-game system that keeps track of when you go from, let's say, gate 11 to gate 13 and skip gate 12 on the racetrack of the timing gates that are set up for you to go through. Standard deviation will be used based on a normal, time gain from segment 11 to segment 13, more or less, to determine a penalty that will be applied and added to a total race time. So usually we see anywhere between a half second to 2 or 3 full seconds of cuts, as we call it, applied post-race. But hey, I got to tell you, it's not Heitzelman that McPherson has caught. It is Jack Fowler that McPherson has caught. I'm not sure if Fowler made a mistake, but McPherson's going to go by. And also, here comes Ethan Gerst, now up into 5th place, trying to make a late pass for this final transfer spot. Around the outside, down the hill he comes. And Gerst is going to get that spot, but go right through the front door and over the bars. Just as he gets back in the final transfer spot, he goes down. Fowler goes deep at the bottom of the hill, so McPherson just has to make it one more corner here. And he will transfer through. In and out of that final turn, McPherson goes to the motos with a 4th place finish. Heitzelman finished up ahead of him in 3rd. J.R. Reyes in 2nd, and Leith Ness picking up the win. Jack Fowler just misses out, as does Brett Thomas. Tyson Johnson and Ethan Gerst rage quit before his bike even stopped rolling down the hill. Tough to see right there, as Tyler Moore will come through as well. Chris R., Ryan Swanson, Dylan Gatlin, Will Clark, and myself in warm-up will not make it into the 250 motos here tonight, so Tyson Johnson crosses the line. We're going to wait for Tyler Moore to bring it home. Get a look here at the penalties applied, if anything changed, and it looks like it did not. So Leith Ness picks up the win in the 250 consolation race, and he will be joining J.R. Reyes, Brent Heitzelman, and Christopher McPherson Jr., and 36 other riders going to the gate for 250 Moto 1 here shortly. So the 250 consolation race is now done. 450 consolation race coming up next here at High Point. I want to give a quick thank you, of course, to everybody that's tuned in tonight, whether you're watching live or the playback. Great to have you guys watching here the fourth round of the AMA Esport Motocross Championship, sanctioned by Init Esports and Race Factory Gaming. We are here at High Point, ready to kick off this fourth round, and we appreciate you watching, whether you're watching on Start Your Systems on YouTube, Init Esports on Twitch, or with us on ESTV or ESTV Plus. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you are ready to sit back and enjoy about 3 hours of coverage here and 4 fantastic 30-minute plus 2-lap motos where the points will be divvied out for the fourth round of this championship. Again, if you're new to MX Simulator racing, or really motocross racing in general, what we are going to have here tonight is basically 2 full races, more or less, that will be combined at the end of the night to determine an overall winner. But both motos that will be lining up will be paid full points. So if you win the first moto, you get 25 points. If you win the second moto, you get 25 points. At the end, if you win both motos, you get 50 points. But then so on and so forth, down from first back to 20th gets points. And then at the end of the night, we tally up an overall winner. And that is the winner of the High Point National in MX Simulator, essentially speaking. 2 classes, 250cc and 450cc engine machines. Pretty standard. If you watch motocross in any discipline or form, that is kind of how they break it up these days, is 250cc and 450cc. But it is 250cc and 450cc 4-stroke engines. You cannot ride a 250cc 2-stroke in the 250 class. You'd have to ride a 125. And same for the 450 class. You'd have to ride a 250cc 2-stroke. You can't ride a higher engine base than that. But in MX Simulator, there are only 250cc 2-strokes as the highest option. No 500s or 300s or anything like that. So if you hear a 2-stroke, it's likely a 250 in this 450 division. As we get ready to go here for the 450 consolation race. And a quick shout out in chat as well to Jet Holyhead, winner of the, I believe, Anaheim 2 Supercross in the game earlier this year. He drops off a little nice Australian donation of $2 and says, "We back." So it sounds like Jet Holyhead is back behind the gate with us here tonight. Here we go. 450 consolation race is underway. 8 riders going for 4 positions. Try to make it into the motos. And it is only 4 laps, so you're going to see a lot of quick jockeying for positions as Jacob Hubbard. Bit of a surprise to see the 78 machine in this one, but there he is. That is not only a national number, that is a career number, which means that Hubbard was one of the top 10 best riders in the game last year and was afforded the ability to pick any 2-digit number that he so chose. So he chose the 78. And I assume that the reason he is in this consolation race without actually knowing the situation prior to tonight is that he just did not have time to put in a solid qualifying lap. Maybe he got the track late, got off of work late today or something like that, and just threw 1 lap down. Wasn't enough to make it in, so he's off to the consolation race. But no surprise here to see not only a whole shot, but already opening up a pretty comfortable gap here in this race as everybody else behind him tries to settle in. It's Austin Bear there in second on the 70, Caden Gross in third, and Matthew Grist right now in fourth. Dylan Adams on the Lansford 619 behind that. Jet Wisdom right there on the 760 UND machine, but he goes down, and sliding into your living room right behind him there is his teammate Chase Donovan, and we're already starting to see quite a bit of separation with the top 4 riders here, as there's a 4-second gap right now between Caden Gross and Dylan Adams. So Adams into P4, and this is a little onboard perspective again of what it's like to see from the racer's point of view. So again, if you're new to MX Simulator, you're watching for the first time, this is a multitude of the world's fastest motocross video gamers around the world. Not exactly sure of the specific location Dylan Adams is from, nor of the many other riders that he's around. But it is very common to see players from California to New York to Florida to France to Australia and all around the world literally playing for this one championship series, which goes 12 rounds and happens every Wednesday night. So for the French riders or the German riders or the Danish riders or any of those others, it is very, very early in the morning for them right now to be playing. It is 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, which means it is definitely pretty early in the morning there, 2 or 3 a.m. in Europe right now. And then, of course, for the Australians, it's also still in the morning, but just about to turn into the afternoon for the different parts of Australia, depending on where you are. If you're on the east coast of Australia, you're probably cresting into the afternoon here shortly. And the west coast of Australia getting up a few hours ago as well. So really just depends on what time of day is good enough for these guys to be able to make it. In Australia, it's a Thursday morning for the Euros as well. And a lot of them have been competing in this series for many, many years. So it's always cool to see the many different nationalities and types of backgrounds represented in the game. So we stuck on board with Dylan Adams here for about a lap. Get a good perspective of what the racetrack looks like. And he also did make a pass as Austin Bear was one of the riders down back there. And yeah, getting confirmation in chat. 3 a.m. in Italy, it is 1:55 or 2 a.m. in the UK. So definitely some dedication. Not only dedication for our racers here tonight, but dedication for the people in the chat room hanging out and watching the live broadcast. You guys are up either very early or staying up super late to watch, and we certainly appreciate your support in watching the AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator. As Hubbard continues to lead the race, he's going to click on to lap number 3, so we're about halfway through this 450 consolation race. 4 riders trying to make it through from the 8 that started this one, and it looks like we are already down to 7. It looks like Zach Fisher will not finish this moto. Yeah, Fisher down here into the valley. So Jet Wisdom, Chase Donovan, and Caden Gross, the only ones outside looking in, but Gross is going to make it into 4th right now as Matthew Grist went down before the finish line jump. And Donovan is going to close up behind Matthew Grist as well. So a open door of opportunity a little bit here as Gross has slotted his way into the final transfer spot. And it looks like Dylan Adams just went down in front of him, but Grist goes flipping through the screen in the background. And Donovan on the 81 machine is going to go ahead and make a quick, easy pass right there. So I believe the man on the move right here should be Chase Donovan. Again, another national number. That is the 81 machine. So again, it's not exactly this way, but just for ease of sakes, more or less look at it as Donovan being the 81st best rider in the video game MX Simulator last year. And he's going to go into that final transfer spot. I believe that is Dylan Adams down. It is right there on the 619 Lansford machine. So he's going to pick it up back in 5th place now and has to try to regroup and catch the group ahead of him to make it into those final transfer spots. But Donovan has slowly worked his way into the picture to try to take advantage of a situation like that, and now has made it into that final transfer spot. So Caden Gross moves to 3rd as well. Austin Bear up in a 2nd, and he has actually caught our race leader, Jacob Hubbard, here. So not sure what's going on with Hubbard, but interesting to see that Bear has closed that gap down, the 78 versus the 70. They're going to sweep up onto Bradshaw Boulevard. And this section of the racetrack has changed quite a bit over the years at High Point. It used to go straight down. The finish line jump was basically right here, and it just went straight through that corner that they just turned left in and all the way basically back to the starting area. But they changed up the track quite a bit about 2018 or so. And you can see that reflected here in the game as Austin Bear tucks the front wheel in that tricky downhill off camber and loses quite a bit of time, but remains in 2nd place. Caden Gross jumping to the top of the hill in 3rd. And he is dealing with that pressure from Chase Donovan, but the white flag is out, and our top 4 looks pretty safe for the time being. Matthew Grist just crossing the line now in 5th place, and I believe at this point, Donovan and or Caden Gross could have a fall-off crash here and still be good to go. Donovan is going to complete that pass to get into 3rd place. And again, for anybody that's confused, a fall-off crash, you can actually crash and fall off the motorcycle in this game, but you don't actually ever let go of the handlebars, so you just will flip and perpetually hold on to the handlebars. Eventually, you'll come to a stop laying next to the motorcycle, and you'll see, I'm sure we'll have an example here, at least in the 250 motos coming up shortly, to show you that the rider eventually just his leg kind of latches on to the bike again and slowly picks up the bike with the other leg that's laying on the ground. And usually between 8 to 12 seconds is what we're looking at for a fall-off crash in the game. So if you have someone with a 8-second lead, you'd say they're in danger of maybe losing that if they were to crash. So that is what we reference when we say either a fall-off crash or a legs-off crash. Many other people have different sayings for it. Maybe just say just a crash. But that is what we're referring to. So back to the leaders here. Half a lap to go. Austin Bear has taken it over because Hubbard went down. Bit of a surprise to see Hubbard throw it away this late, but he has been kind of struggling down the stretch here. And Austin Bear may have just been gifted this consolation race victory. So they will join, this little 4-rider train right here will join the 36 other riders already seeded into the motos coming up shortly. And the easiest way to look at it is Austin Bear winning this will give him 37th gate pick on the gate here in just a moment. So up to the top of the hill we go for the final time, and it's going to be Austin Bear of the Yogi Designs machine taking the consolation race victory. Jacob Hubbard threw it in the last corner to try to make a pass, ended up going down, will settle for second. Chase Donovan gets third, and Caden Gross makes the motos in fourth. So Matthew Grist looks like he will end this one just on the outside looking in. 11 seconds down at the end. Cuts come in, and it looks like Hubbard with that last turn attempt did actually garner himself 2.3 seconds of cuts, and that gave Chase Donovan second place, but Austin Bear still takes the win here in the Consi. Alrighty, 250 Moto number 1 coming up next. And we'll get our moto timer display ready to go so you guys can see a reverse countdown of the clock. There's an in-game timer that you can see if you follow my mouse right here. There's an in-game timer right here at the top, but that actually will disappear behind this little decal to the left side of the screen. So really only I'll be able to see it, but the decal on the right side over here of your screen will be very visible to see how much time is left in the moto. As Bear goes flipping and down. And a quick shout out to John Bowman, or John Bauman. Apologies if I said your name incorrectly. $20 donation, dropping it off in the chat, says, love your live streams and your channel. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you so much, John Bowman. Yeah, here at Start Your Systems, we have been broadcasting the MX Simulator National Championship since 2015, all the way through. It's been a fantastic run of basically 7 years to this point, moving into year number 8 of broadcasting the Nationals. We've seen a lot of fun over the years, and I myself actually raced this series from 2012 to 2017 before I moved into the commentary box full time. So I do have a little bit of expertise, a little bit of knowledge on what you're seeing on the racetrack from a racer's perspective. Was never quite championship caliber, but I did win a moto in the 450 class at one point, so we got there. We knew how to get it done at one point. But it has been a while. It's almost creeping up on a decade since I got my moto victory in 2014 at Budds Creek. But appreciate the support, John, for the donation, and everybody else that's also tuned in here tonight. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. It is time to go racing here at High Point. 250 Moto 1 coming up, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Getting ready to drop the gate here in Pennsylvania. Quickly say hi to Blaze Markle in chat. And yes, Vincent Chicharella or Chicharella. Sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. I will be at Redbud. I'll also be at Millville and Washougal coming up soon, as my real life job working for RacerX Illustrated takes me around the world. But if you guys are there, always happy to have a chat and hang out with you fine folks at the races. Good to see everyone. Do not hesitate to come up and say hello. All right, getting loaded in. Takes a little bit of time to load everything in this game. Can be a little bit labor intensive on the computer. And if you're interested in playing this game at all, check out mxsimulator.com. That's mxsimulator.com, mxsimulator.com, all one word. You guys could try out a free demo there, but I will let you know that the demo version of the game includes quite literally what it sounds like, the basic of the basic in this game. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing here tonight has been user-created models and skins and graphics. And this track right here is also user-created by the Race Factor Gaming track crew. The base model of MX Simulator, which was released in 2008, was very, not trying to be mean, but very basic. JLV, who created the game, did a fantastic job of creating a physics model that a lot of people have been very stoked with over the last 14 years of game. And yeah, I think that the crux of the game is the user-created stuff, kind of pulling it along with the physics. But if you want to try out and see what this game feels like and how difficult it is to master the physics in this game, you can try out the free demo at mxsimulator.com. Once you're interested in it, it's a one-time buy of the game. There's no subscription or anything like that you need to get. Just a $42 purchase of the game, and then thousands, probably at this point millions of user-created items for you to use in this game. It's quite incredible how much this community has developed over the last 14 years that this game has been out. So if you're interested in playing the game, check it out there. And we are ready to go here. 250 Moto 1 going to the gate. So give you a rundown real quick of who is lined up. Dylan Love, Evan Holt, Sean Hambrook, Daniel Irvine, Timmy Briscoe, Braden Tharp, Jaden Wilson, Brent Heitzelman, Brandon Wolf, Johnny Padani, Frank Jackson, Sonny Spicer, Jack Gatland, Alec Horn, J.R. Reyes, Seth Shirley, Brett Powers, Christopher McPherson Jr., Nick Niles, Benjamin Milchkovic, Cooper Hunt, Luke Sullivan, Nathan Prinn, Nick Tomasunis, Johan Bordeaux, Carson West, Tyler Blowers, your championship leader Logan Leitzel, Cade Matherly, Noah McLaughlin, Trent Adams, Tanner Thorson, Hayden Stevenson, Millie Soderblom, and I also missed a couple in here. Jet Holyhead, another rider that we're seeing back at the racetrack here on the 142. Good to have him back. A couple other riders further down, and again, your championship leader by 33 points entering Logan Leitzel. So this moto is about to go off, and there is zero chance that someone can pass Leitzel in the championship point standings, even if they were to win this moto. Prinn, 33 points down in second place, would still be 8 points down, even if he won the moto without Leitzel scoring any points. So it's a pretty good situation for Leitzel to be in early in this championship. And again, we will see if he can keep the ball rolling. 4 moto wins from 6 tries in 2022 for the number 16 machine. And he's going to try for moto win number 5 right here at High Point. All right, they are lined up. They are ready to go. That 30 card is going to go sideways. Let's see who we can find here in the middle. How about Nathan Prinn from the inside? Here we go at High Point. Not the best jump for Prinn, but he might have an opportunity to sneak through the inside as everybody pushes wide. Studio 8 whole shot award to Alec Horn on the impact, number 59. He's going to get stacked up in the second corner and go down with Seth Shirley by the looks of it. And Luke Sullivan takes the lead. So Sullivan on the 11 leads him down the hill. Up the inside, is that Cade Matherly giving it a look? It was, but he's going to flip and go down. So several riders will have to avoid the 38 machine as Tyler Blowers takes over the race lead. The 746 Verb Moto machine to the front. What a mix-up in these opening few corners. Still looking for our championship competitors. I have not seen a flash of green and red of Logan Leitzel just yet, nor have I seen the 12 of Nathan Prinn as Blowers trying to lead the first lap around here at High Point. Sullivan tucking to the inside there on the 11. And it is Prinn who is in third place behind these guys as we got Dooley's getting tossed over the big quad jump at the top of the hill. Blowers through the canyon up the other side. Prinn to the inside of Sullivan gives it a go, but not quite close enough to make that pass just yet. This is a great position, though, for Nathan Prinn with no early sign just yet of Leitzel towards the front. Matherly able to regroup. He is still up there inside of the points, but he might have just fallen again as I've seen his name dip down the order. And the update in chat is Leitzel went down in the third corner as Prin tucks the front wheel at the top of the hill. So we're looking for the 16 machine to check in timing and scoring, see where he is. Got Jaden Wilson down in 26th. He's well back there. Braden Tharp, Seth Shirley, he was down in the second corner. He's also down the order. Still have not seen the 16 machine. But how about this for Tyler Blowers? Verb Moto machine out front, and Leitzel checking in 34th place for your championship leader. And this has opened the door of opportunity wide for the rest of the pack. And Tyler Blowers leading the first lap here at High Point. I'm sure he's going to be stoked to have a lap led, but at this point, boy, oh boy, what is stopping him from trying to pull away from Luke Sullivan behind him? The 746 machine looking great out front, but just as I say that, he tucks the front end. So Sullivan closes back up, and the 12 of Prin also knocking on the door as Blowers tries to hop that double to the outside. That's Sullivan to the inside to take the lead. Hopping down the hill they come, and Prin crosses over in front of Blowers to move into second. Will he get the lead as well? Nearly side by side, but Sullivan is going to control the inside line here. Prin goes even further inside, but it's not quite enough just yet. How about this outside move? Cuts back to the inside. Back and forth we go for the race lead on the second lap. Both go for the triple. Prin tries to get a nose in there. How they didn't make contact, I will never know. But back down to the quad they come. Prin with a nice scrub lays it over to the outside of the track. Going to try to use that low line here, and it will work as he takes over the race lead. So the fast Frenchman on the District Designs number 12, Nathan Prin, to the front at High Point. And we will have to go back and find where Logan Leitzel is at some point, but man, oh man, never would I have thought that it's actually possible for Leitzel to lose this much points in a single moto, but he is buried down the order with a lot of work to do. So Prin from Sullivan, then Blowers now settling into third place ahead of Cooper Hunt. Sean Hambrook back here in fifth place with Timmy Briscoe in sixth, battling it out with Johan Bordeaux. Bordeaux on the 40 to the inside, tries to get a nose on Briscoe. Side by side up the hill. Bordeaux's going to hit this little anthill on the inside, try to land in the rut and make it work, but actually jumps off the racetrack a little bit. So Briscoe holds on for sixth, Bordeaux seventh. Noah McLaughlin in 8th with Bonnie Parker in 9th. Austin Irwin in 10th. Nick Niles 11th with Jaden Wilson in 12th. Sonny Spicer 13th from Thomas Sunis in 14th. Stevenson 15th. Shirley 16th. Matherly back in 17th. Carson West 18th. And Logan Leitzel's already into the points. He's in 19th. And he's got pretty much everybody still right in front of him here. There's maybe a little bit of separation. The top four are gone. Fifth place is all by himself. Sixth and seventh kind of all by themselves as well. But all the way up to 8th from 19th right now is a freight train. And a couple spots even behind Leitzel, still trying to give him a bit of a run here. Just stick on board here with Leitzel for a moment. You can just kind of see what it's like to start at the back of the pack here and try to work your way forward. Not a fun proposition. Really kind of the last thing you want to have happen. And Leitzel's trying to make quick work of as many of these guys as he can as he's trying to go into 18th, and he gets clipped from behind and goes down. He definitely did cross jump, whoever that is. Is that Carson West? Yeah, Carson West. Has two lines coming together, so Leitzel with even more work to do now after the crash there with Carson West. Back to our leader, Prin. Blowers had moved to second, but he goes down, so now it's Prin versus Cooper Hunt at the front. Cooper Hunt with an interesting team name, Conquistador Guacamole. I'll tell you what, man, Cooper Hunt took a brief hiatus from professional MX Simulator racing, basically the entirety of Supercross. And I know mostly where he was because he was on our Start Your Systems MX Bikes team that races in the video game MX Bikes. And Cooper Hunt, a.k.a. Dino, Race for our program in Supercross did quite well, but elected to move on from the team after Supercross ended. And it seems like this is where he has decided to go, is back into MX Simulator and give it a go. Now 4 rounds into this 2022 championship, looks like he's really got his feet back underneath of him again. And going after Nathan Prynne for the race lead as the two separate from the rest of the pack, with gaps opening up behind them rather quickly. Let's tuck back a little bit and find Johan Bordeaux closing up on Tyler Blowers. Bordeaux, another one of the fast Frenchmen that you'll see here racing tonight. Of course, Nathan Prynne, our race leader out of France. Bordeaux, also out of France. And 4-time national champion Alexis Leclerc in the 450 class, also a Frenchman. Bordeaux is just kind of inching up on Blowers, who, honestly, I'm still very impressed with. I know Blowers is a rather quick individual, but he is really holding his own amongst some of arguably the best 250 riders in the world in this game right now. Look at that, even laying a big Oppo whip off in front of Bordeaux there. Oh, we've got a change for the lead, folks. Prynne has gone down, and Cooper Hunt has taken it over. He's got Sean Hambrook right behind him. I wonder if Hunt and Prynne came together, because the big gap that they had has come way down. So we'll stick with this lead group here for a second, because it is Hunt, Hambrook, Prynne, and Sullivan kind of nose to tail, but really 2 by 2 they go. What a bonus position this is for Sean Hambrook, the 58 iSpec machine. Chasing down a few guys here that know how to win motos. But Cooper Hunt is going to come through and lead onto lap number 5 here at High Point. We got about almost 9 minutes down, so 20 minutes plus those 2 laps left to go. A lot of time left on the clock and a lot of racing still to be had in this first 250 moto. But it is Hunt from Hambrook, Prynne, and Sullivan as our top 4 riders, as mentioned, have broken away. Tyler Blauer still in 5th from Johan Bordeaux in 6th. And I think we're going to see Logan Leitzel here shortly as he continues to move his way forward. Prynne nearly alongside Hambrook for 2nd, but just couldn't quite get in there. This time to the outside, and it will work. Beautiful pass. Nathan Prynne just using the flow of the racetrack to his advantage, and that is kind of the secret to success around this track, because there's so much turning that's going on. It never really feels like you're going fully straight at any one point on this racetrack. So again, kind of the keys to the race are keeping that momentum up, trying to find the flow of the racetrack as Hambrook has gone down. And Bordeaux is going to go by. Did Sullivan go down too? No. So Bordeaux is going to move into 4th as 2 Panini Motorsports riders sitting inside of the top 5 now. Blowers takes over 5th place from Hambrook, who gets onto his rear wheel and goes down again. So Timmy Briscoe goes by. There's Jaden Wilson and then Bodie Parker. Cade Matherly, Seth Shirley, Frank Jackson, Jed Holyhead, Noah McLaughlin, Austin Irwin, Stevenson, and then Leitzel, who is now in 17th. You can see at this point, Leitzel is trying to pick off guys by chunks at this point. He's got a 3-rider train right in front of him. Look at that, around the outside, just carrying more momentum. Great little pass right there from your championship leader. 2:10 flat his time, but that does not seem to suggest how much pace he has coming through the field right now. So there we go, 208.9. The inside, that is Seth Shirley that he's battling with, and Shirley, no slouch. But man, oh man, Leitzel is on a mission right now. Made that pass look maybe a little bit easier than it should be because that downhill section is so tricky to get correct. So go up here a little bit, see a battle between Wilson Parker and Cade Matherly. And Cade Matherly, I feel like right now is kicking himself a little bit. That was by far the best start he's gotten all year. And to crash coming down the second downhill on the opening lap of the race, go from maybe even trying to take the lead to outside of points. Definitely going to be frustrated with himself there, but he's going to use this inside line to get around Body Parker. See if Parker fights back. Not quite. So Matherly shuts the door, moves his way into, I believe this is 7th, now behind Jaden Wilson. That's the 3:09 of Timmy Briscoe laying it over. And Jaden Wilson's just going to sneak right on through. So here's the battle between teammates. Johan Bordeaux and Luke Sullivan. And this is a battle for 4th place. Yeah, they are now behind Tyler Blowers. So it looks like Bordeaux has been kind of ascending here a little bit. Finally got to his teammate Sullivan either through a sequence of mistakes out of the 11 or what have you, but he has now made his way into 4th and trying to catch up to Tyler Blowers there on the 7.46 there in 3rd. So perhaps these two, as they are teammates, will kind of work together, just get in a bit of a line and see how much damage they can do if they work together instead of against each other. But so far, man, they are just not really closing up on Tyler Blowers as much as I thought they might. Really impressive stuff here so far in just about a half a moto distance for Tyler Blowers to not only lead a lap, but then just stay up here. It is not easy to do, and being a 3-digit rider, still pretty either new to the game or still just trying to figure out the ropes of racing at least. I'll tell you what, with a ride like this, he's going to watch that 3-digit number disappear real quickly next year. Rear tire kicking out a little bit. Meanwhile, Nathan Prinn has been trying to close up on Cooper Hunt. Got it down to about 2 seconds, and then looks like he went down again or lost some time somehow, because that gap has certainly opened back up. Battle for 3rd is starting to heat up a little bit more, though. It seems like Sullivan and Bordeaux have pushed their way into Tyler Blowers. Bordeaux will be the first one to get there on the 40. And we'll see how well Blowers is at defending. We saw earlier in the race when Prinn was trying to move to the front. Seemed inevitable that Prinn was going to find a way through, but Blowers did a pretty good job to hold him, at least to the line choices that he needed to hold. It's a good fight brewing here, though. Interesting to see whether or not Bordeaux, if he gets Blowers, has the pace to kind of run with our two leaders. And I know that they've already opened up a sizable advantage, but if he goes a little bit faster than them, kind of claws that gap back down, you never know late in this thing what could happen. And really putting the pressure on to Tyler Blowers as they almost cross lines. Look at this. Inside line now for Bordeaux into the sweeper. And Blowers just cannot really fight back to that. He's going to try to force the issue to the outside. But in the end, Bordeaux's line is plenty good enough to make that pass stick. Oh, wow. That is a 163 machine, I believe. Or the 183. Millie Soderblom getting dragged up the hill right there. I'm not sure what just happened right there. Maybe he was invisible as a lapped rider. But weird sequence of events right there. And now more lap traffic coming into play as Nathan Prynne trying to lap the 90 machine right there. And here is... Oh, no! Cooper Hunt just went down! I was about to say, this is the gap we're looking at, but Hunt, after leading for 4 or 5 laps here, finally lays it down from the lead. Gonna lose several positions as well. Wow. And then Prynne goes down, so Hunt retakes the lead. And this is just what I was talking about with Bordeaux, because he's gonna come over the hill now and suddenly be not too far behind. As Luke Sullivan also trying to tail Bordeaux and catch up to the lead duo now. And this is going to get pretty good here soon. So let's give you guys a quick top 20 rundown, give an idea where our point scorers are with just about 12 minutes left to go in this moto. Cooper Hunt, the Conquistador Guacamole number 13, is leading the way here at High Point. Nathan Prynne, the District Designs number 12, is in second. Third place for Johan Bordeaux on the Panini Motorsports number 40. Fourth place now, his teammate Luke Sullivan on the number 11 machine, and fifth place, it's the iSpec 58 of Sean Hambrook. Jaden Wilson, another Panini Motorsports rider on that number 25, is in sixth. Cade Matherly for Stance on the 38 machine is in seventh. Tyler Blowers for Verb Moto 746 is in eighth, but maybe not for long. Here comes Logan Leitzel, your championship leader on the Yogi Designs number 16. It's been a long road to the top 10, but Leitzel's finally there, and he's trying to get 8th spot away from Blowers. Looks like he'll get it done, and Hambrook was down too, so that's now 7th. As Frank Jackson, the Phil Ski and Snowboard Underground RC number 32 machine, moves into the 9th position, I believe this is, yeah. And Hambrook slides back to 10th. Timmy Briscoe, MSK 309, running in 11th. Body Parker for Full Throttle on the 115 is in 12th. Austin Irwin, the Empire rider on the 212, is in 13th. Seth Shirley, Braxton Worldwide number 23, is in 14th and dealing with some internet problems. Not sure what's going on right here, but Seth Shirley gonna have to get some internet issues sorted out, or else he'll lag out of the server. Braden Tharp on the CV, number 53, runs in 15th. 16th for Noah McLaughlin. Privateer effort on the 124. 17th for Alec Horn is your whole shot winner on the Impact number 59. 18th for Jet Holyhead, the Covenant 142. 19th for Trent Adams, Yogi Designs on the 42, and 20th, Aiden Stevenson, Proline Designs number 312. That is a top 20 rundown here. 250 moto number 1 at High Point. Back to our leader, though. Cooper Hunt starting to lap some guys, and Bordeaux has disposed of Nathan Prynne. He is now up into 2nd place. Johan Bordeaux looking for what I believe will be his first ever moto victory if he could close up here. Steal this one away late from Cooper Hunt. I feel like for Bordeaux, most of this race has been him just kind of steadily climbing the ladder. Starting to pay off a little bit here late in this one. So can Cooper Hunt break through for his first win of 2022? Or will something else happen to deny the number 13 machine here today? Right now, he is just kind of... It's like matching a similar pace right now, lap after lap, just doing similar lap times. They get a lap time check here, actually. Did a 220.7 last time by, but remember, that was the lap that he had a crash on, so resets it again, 210.3. Again, you take a 10-second fall-off crash away. He basically just did back-to-back 210s right there. Bordeaux, a 210.6, so lost 3/10 that last lap alone. Sullivan, a 209.7, fastest rider in the top 3 last time through the flag stand. And a pretty big gap back to Nathan Prynne now in 4th, who did a 215.4. Cade Matherly right behind him. And now Logan Leitzel. Wow, Nathan Prynne was not that far away, it seemed like, from chunking some huge points away out of Logan Leitzel in this championship. And he's pretty well in danger at this point of actually losing championship points this moto if Leitzel can get to him. And look at that. Matherly makes a mistake. Leitzel will hop right on by. And pretty simple pickings in the end for our championship leaders. So now, from 36th place when we first saw him in timing and scoring to now in 5th place, Logan Leitzel literally on full damage control mode here in 250 Moto 1 and doing a terrific job of limiting that damage. So now under 7 minutes left to go, Nathan Prynne is going to get around Johan Bordeaux, who is down with the 52. I believe that's Daniel Irvine. Wow. So Bordeaux, who had clawed into 2nd place, has now let Nathan Prynne and Luke Sullivan get by as Cooper Hunt continues to lead. We got some moving parts here. Now, Logan Leitzel is caught up to Bordeaux for 4th place, and it looks like it's on between these two. Oh, Leitzel's sliding out. Nice recovery not to lose too much time. But enough so that he is not right on the tail feathers there of Bordeaux anymore. And actually kind of has Matherly and Frank Jackson closing up behind him a little bit. Going aboard Leitzel because it looks like he might be the closest person to the rider in front of him in terms of the top 5 positions. He's trying to close that gap down on Johan Bordeaux. Oh, but he's gone down. Slide out on corner entry, pushed wide and off the track he goes, but it looks like Nathan Prynne also went down. As Jaden Wilson closes up, Cade Matherly has moved into 4th place. Or rather, Frank Jackson has, excuse me. He's now right behind Bordeaux as Sullivan remains 2nd, and our leader's down. Cooper Hunt is picking it up as Sullivan comes into frame. They're going to be side by side going to the other side of the valley, and Sullivan takes over the race lead. Wow. Hunt's going to try to fight back to the inside on the other side of the valley. Dualies. What a battle. Hunt takes the position. But for how long can Sullivan fight back? Not sure what happened to Cooper Hunt there on the quad. I'd have to imagine it was just a simple case of either casing it hard enough to have an instant fall-off crash or swapping on landing, and I think based on where he was, I guess swapping on landing. Here we go, though. Sullivan back up to the inside before the finish line jump. Side by side again, and Hunt just squeezes back ahead. That's the same corner that Hunt made a mistake in earlier on. You can see how much that little rut kind of fading into that braking bump is really causing havoc for these guys. Such a close battle for the lead. It seems like at any moment the tides will shift again. But right now, Cooper Hunt kind of seems to have the advantage back in his favor. Yeah, actually open up that gap a little bit more coming through the S-turns. Sullivan has to go back to the drawing board here. It's Bordeaux in third, Jackson fourth, and Prin now inside of the top five is Leitzel. Looks like he just got around a couple different lapped riders. Cade Matherly now next person behind him for position. And Matherly will also dispose of those same lappers. So where will everybody finish? The little dance that everybody's doing on the racetrack right now is coming to a close here in 2 minutes plus 2 laps. If we take a look at where our leader is right now, Cooper Hunt. Oh man, getting sideways coming down the hill, and Sullivan's going to close back in. I was going to say, based on how much time is left coming to the line this time by, I think we're looking at 3 to go. It's pretty likely they'll get the 2-lap board next time by unless Cooper Hunt runs a godlike lap here in 1 minute and 31 seconds. So it's been a bit of a yo-yo between the 13 of Hunt and Sullivan, but now it is fully yo'd because Sullivan just laid it down after the Carmichael double and lost a lot of time. Meanwhile, battle for fourth, Frank Jackson versus Nathan Prin versus Johan Bordeaux, and it looks like Frank Jackson went pirouetting down the hill, so Prin by for fourth, now by for third as he's going to get around Bordeaux as well. So the battle for third continues on while the battle for the lead remains rather stagnant at that 1.2 second advantage for Cooper Hunt. But as Hunt has already displayed, it just takes one small mistake for everything to be twisted upside down. Whoa! A little bit of contact right there. Prin and Bordeaux getting together. And that will cost both of them some time and push Bordeaux back into third place. It'll also allow the group from behind to close up a little bit, which includes Logan Leitzel. Prin back to the inside. Just cannot quite get close enough. To the left side of the track, dropping down the hill. Prin is going to get to the inside of Bordeaux to retake that third place position. But the bigger story, I feel like, is Logan Leitzel lurking back there. He has a shot at a podium finish in this one, depending on the way the cards shake out, but he's got 2 laps to try to make it happen. And on top of that, one of the 2 riders he could pass is his nearest championship rival, Nathan Prin. So obviously extra tantalizing there for Leitzel to make something happen. tightening up. I feel like Leitzel is just kind of waiting for the right opportunity, the door to swing open. Bordeaux has made a couple mistakes, but now Leitzel just made a big one and lost a lot of time in the process. So Frank Jackson is going to close right up. But we're starting to sneak up on the end of this race, though. We only have a lap and a half left to go. Can Cooper Hunt hold on and win this race? Looking pretty solid right now, but the gap is not that big. Sullivan is lurking behind him, and you know Luke Sullivan will throw caution to the wind and try to win one of these motos. So if you're Hunt, you're coming to get this white flag, you see the gap that you have, it is time to take a deep breath and just focus on hitting your marks. Not a hot lap, not a slow lap. Hit the marks. Just make sure you hit each line. Smooth, efficient. Should be enough to get the win, but man, oh man, Sullivan is throwing all of that out the window and quite literally just going as fast as he can down these hills. But here we go. White flag in the air, this time by Cooper Hunt. We'll see it waved and trying to win his first moto of the season. One lap left to get it done. Oh, Sullivan went down before the finish. That is going to be Prin going by for second, and Sullivan goes down again. Bordeaux through, Leitzel through, and Jackson through as well. So Sullivan goes from second to sixth in one small sequence of mistakes. Uh-oh, Cooper Hunt, he's down with a lap rider. That was Jack Gatland. The 182 right there, is that, I think that's Talon Zollers. Oh man, and Nathan Prin is right there as the lap rider goes flying at the bottom of the hill. So we thought it was going to be a Hunt versus Sullivan shootout. It's turning into a Hunt versus Prin shootout. And it is going to be crazy to see if Hunt can hold on to the pressure. But Prin making small mistakes here and there. If you're Hunt, though, your heart rate is spiked right now. Leading on the last lap with minimal gap. Just doing what you can to try to hold on to this position. Just has to hit his marks. Like I said, though, Prin he's pushing that pace up to Hunt, but it just might be a little too late depending on how Hunt takes these next few corners. Kind of hops into that rut. Little mistake there. Prin, sensing opportunity, closes the gap down. Are we going to have a last couple corners pass for the win? I have to imagine Prin is going to send it down this downhill as Hunt goes defensive. Prin to the outside. Kind of messed up the rut, but still has the opportunity if he can get a drive. And he certainly did send it to the bottom. Will he hook one of these inside ruts? He's got the inside rut. Nearly pulls up alongside, but Cooper Hunt controls the inside into the final corner. Lap traffic in the way. One turn to go. Cooper Hunt wins Moto 1 at High Point. 7/10 in it at the end. Prin gets second. Leitzel rounds off the podium. Bordeaux picks up a fourth, and Sullivan inside of the top five, with sixth place being Frank Jackson, and the top six separated by less than 10 seconds at the line. Cade Matherly gets seventh. Jaden Wilson will pick up eighth. Sean Hambrook crosses in ninth, and a solid top 10 performance right here as Bodie Parker comes through in 10th. Alec Horn gonna get an 11th place finish here. Jed Holyhead in a battle with Braden Tharp. Looks like Tharp is going to get that position. Maybe not. Yeah, he's got it for 12th. And Holyhead will get 13th. Shirley crosses the line 14th. McLaughlin gonna pick up 15th here. Austin Irwin, nearly contact right there. He's side by side with Dylan Love, I believe. But Dylan Love is a lap down. Carson West, 17th. Trent Adams, 18th. Tyler Blowers was up front for so long and is going to only end up with 2 points to show for it, as he will cross in 19th. Johnny Padani will pick up the final points paying position. He'll cross, well, eventually he'll cross in 20th. He's got enough time. Timmy Briscoe in 21st, just going down. Evan Holt, Hayden Stevenson, Miljkovic, and then Nick Niles will be the last guy to finish this one up, as Niles was right in front of Cooper Hunt and Nathan Prynn as they crossed the line right there. Great little fight, though, to the end, and Prynn certainly made that one interesting, but he had to, because that entire moto, Leitzel went from, 36th, 37th to get on the box, and maybe had a shot at winning it. I guess we still don't know. Cuts could come into play here. We don't know how much time Cooper Hunt spent off the track, Nathan Prynn, how much time did he spend off the track? It all comes down to Nick Niles crossing the line right here. We're going to see if Hunt is confirmed as your first moto winner. Here we go. No, he loses it on penalties. 2.6 seconds of cuts. Nathan Prynn has won the first moto at High Point. Unbelievable. So, still unofficially, though, as penalties from post-race infractions could be applied, but Nathan Prynn has won Moto 1 here at High Point. Cooper Hunt will finish second, and Logan Leitzel will finish third. So that's a 5-point swing to the favor of Prynn. Now from 33 down to 28 points in the championship. Gutted for Cooper Hunt, who held on for his life to try to win that moto and ends up losing it on penalties. You hate to see it, but sometimes that is the way the cookie crumbles in MX Simulator professional racing. What a way to kick off the first moto of the night, though, here at round 4 of the AMA Esport Motocross Championship, as Nathan Prynn gets it done on his District Designs number 12. Got a feel for Cooper Hunt, though, and you can see just by the way that he's rolling around the track rather sheepishly that he's very bummed that he did not win that first moto. But the positive side is he controls his own destiny, and if he is able to win the second moto, he will win the overall no matter what happens. And he certainly has shown tonight thus far that he has the pace to win. Just going to come down to whether he gets the start in the second moto as well. All right, coming up next, 450 Moto number 1. Same premise that we just had happen in the 250 class, but now about to happen in the 450 class. And that premise is 30 minutes plus 2 laps, 40 riders going to the gate, and full points on offer, 25 points for the winner, 22 for second, 20 for third, 18 for fourth, 16 for fifth, 15 for sixth, 14 for seventh, 13 for eighth, and so on and so forth, down by a single point all the way until only 1 point is given to the 20th place finisher. So we're very glad that you have chosen to join us here for round 4 of the championship tonight at High Point. It's been a fun night of racing so far. Terrific end to that first 250 moto battle. And if you missed it, feel free to slide back a little bit and watch how that one unfolded. But again, coming up next, 450 class. And as a refresher of where we are through 3 rounds of this championship, it has been all Payson Johnson early on in this season. And he commands a nice 30-point lead on defending champion Tyler Lang, who has gone 2-2, 2-2 in the last 4 motos as he tries to break through for his first win of the season in his 2021 National Championship title defense. So will the number 1 machine find his way to the top step here at High Point? Or will Johnson keep it rolling? Or will somebody else, like Alexis Leclerc, perhaps Adam Holm, gets into the mix? A myriad of riders that certainly have the skill set to get it done, but we'll see who comes out, at least with the early lead, in just a few moments. I will not be at Budds Creek, at least for the time being. Unfortunately, flight prices to fly anywhere in the country, really anywhere in the world, are quite expensive right now, so I'm limited to ones that I can keep within a relative budget. But as mentioned, I will be at Redbud next weekend, and then Millville a couple weekends after that, and Washougal after that. So if you're coming by to any of those rounds, always happy to run into you. Talk some sim, talk some moto, talk life, whatever it is. Great to have the fans coming to the races and chatting. All right, here we go. Going to the line for this first 450 moto. Pablo Vial, Payson Johnson, your championship leader. Braden Carter, Tyler Lang, Caleb Hall, Dylan Cavacuti, Cole Gress, Chris Post, Sam Goffam, Devin Davis, Jay Turner, Dylan Copeland, Bob Joe, Caden Gross, Austin Bear, Roy Mitchell, Anthony Pachone, Kyle Carpenter, Reno Brennan, Jeff Cooper, Dakota French, Chase Blakely, Daniel Mills, Ashton Rakovsky, Tanner Rogers, Reed McYoung, Kevin Frazaka, Adam Holm, Matthias Janis, Robert Wilson, Alexis Leclerc, Phil Bull, Braden Castellaneta, Jack Haley, John Heilman, Bryce Whelan, and Blake O'Brien. Here we go, folks. Strap up, grab your favorite beverage, get a good snack ready to go, because this is going to be a fun one. 450 Moto number 1 at High Point. The most technical track we have seen through the first 4 rounds of the season is laid out ahead of us to watch the best riders in MX Simulator do battle. Who are we going to watch on the start? This all-important start as the 30 card goes sideways. The revs are coming up. Trying to find someone maybe more in the middle. Let's take a look at Supercross champion Braden Carter up the inside with Lang to his left side. We're off and running at High Point. Laying down before we even get to the first corner. The one machine laying on the ground. Through the Studio 8 Hole Shot Award, it's the 137 of Pablo Vial. Vial to the lead and a huge pileup behind him. I think Leclerc was involved. Yogi Designs 137 out front. Johnson in second. No, Leclerc got through unscathed. He's in third. Adam Holm fourth. Daniel Mills in fifth. Janis on the 14. He's in sixth. Chase Blakely trying to pass Jacob Hubbard. Kind of flick dualies off of that small double, but they're all chasing Pablo Vial as Payson Johnson wants to go to the lead in a hurry. What a bonus this is, though, for Pablo Vial to get the race lead and kind of feel what it's like to lead a 450 National here. It's a special situation to be in, and also a nerve-wracking one. You definitely start riding a lot tighter than you think you would being in this position. You think, get the lead, free air, just cruise control, right? Do your laps. That is not what the case is whatsoever. And Payson Johnson is quickly going to start applying that pressure to the 137 machine if he can. Look at how close Johnson already is. It's obvious he wants to try to go to the lead as fast as he possibly can. But Vial is holding steady. First we've seen in MX Simulator competition this year, Pablo Vial racing Race Factory Gaming competition. Scrubbing that little single. Trying to hold the lead. Dualies with Johnson. Almost gets landed on, but Johnson will officially lead the first lap. And this is awful news for the rest of the field, including Tyler Lang, who is currently listed in 27th. So if you're this man right here, 4-time national champion Alexis Leclerc, you've got to get going and get going in a hurry. You cannot let Payson Johnson get too far away while Pablo Vial holds station in second and tries to defend from the attacks of Leclerc coming from behind. One thing I do question here a little bit is whether there is going to be a little bit more kind of friendly play here, as Vial and Leclerc, both riders out of France. Don't know if they know each other well at all, though, so could just be hearsay. And Vial might fight tooth and nail to hold on to the second position from his countryman. But you can already see the gap that Johnson has opened up. And we're not even 3 minutes into this thing. And he just took the lead, what, half a lap ago. So crazy, crazy how fast it can divulge into a situation where a rider like Payson Johnson can just get the lead and absolutely take off. Which is why if you're Leclerc or anybody behind, you need to pass Pablo Vial quickly and start being able to put your pace down and not be controlled by the pace of another rider ahead of you. I like this inside line for Leclerc and kind of funnels to that middle rut, so not close enough just yet, but he's certainly inched up on Vial, and this might be his opportunity as Vial makes a mistake. Leclerc landing in some weird chop, swaps a little bit sideways, but picks up second place in the process. And a nice move in the end for both riders to not end up on the ground. So this is kind of the question mark at this point. For almost a decade at this point, Leclerc has been consistently viewed as one of the fastest riders, if not the fastest rider on the track every single week. And his detriment, especially in the early days, even when he won his 2014 National Championship, was that he could not do it consistently. He would just be really fast and then crash a lot, and really fast and crash a lot. This is the first time I feel like in a long time that I can remember on a national track that I've seen someone just straight up be as fast as him, or maybe even faster, in the form of Payson Johnson. And I wonder if that forces Leclerc to push beyond his boundaries a little bit. 2:04.2 versus a 2:02.9. And remember, our qualifying times are in the 2:01. So Johnson, first lap through there that he gets a time, already starting to push down to near qualifying lap times. Kind of incredible. You can see him just kind of biding his time. Look at that hop through the corner, and he backflips. I don't know how he stays on two wheels. He's going to keep the lead as well. What? Leclerc went down. Leclerc certainly went down because he's got a big gap now behind Pablo Vial. So Payson Johnson caught in 4K. Just watching the replay out of the corner of my eyes right here, and he just popped down the hill, landed awkward in the rut, backflipped off the side of the track, landed it. Lost about 5 seconds in the process, but literally kept the lead while backflipping off the racetrack. That is pretty impressive stuff. So Chase Blakely 4th, Adam Holm 5th, Reno Brennan 6th, Tanner Rogers 7th, Jack Haley 8th, Braden Carter in 9th, and Phil Bull making contact with John Heilman as he goes off the side of the track. Caleb Hall now moves into 11th, Heilman 12th, Whelan 13th, Jeff Cooper 14th, Bob Joe going to slide to 16th as Cole Gretz goes to 15th, Matthias Janis 17th, and then defending champion Tyler Lang down in 18th spot in the first 6 minutes of this one. So this is worst case scenario for the champ right here. This has a lot of work to do, and everybody that he needs to beat at the front of the field. So the best he can hope for here is that Johnson does something to blow this, which that little backflip soiree that he did was certainly something, but Leclerc had already gone down and relinquished too much time. So back at it again, 8.3 second gap back to Leclerc. Adam Holm has assumed 3rd. Pablo Vial drifts down to 5th place. So it looks like the second Frenchman in line may have had a second fall-off crash. Cost him a bit of time. And this time, Johnson does not go back to trying to triple down into the corner there. Does make a little bobble, though. So not impervious is the championship leader on that 51 Privateur machine. But he certainly makes the track look real fun. Which I can tell you, folks, is it's going to get rougher and rougher. It's going to be less and less fun. But Johnson just flowing from corner to corner just so fluidly. Look at that. Hopping almost around the inside of the corner into the braking bumps. And really, the bike didn't even bother to move when he landed. Normally, you jump that far to more or less flat, even kind of an uphill at that angle. The rear end will kind of step out on landing because you'll land, compress the rear of the suspension down to nothing, and then at that point, it doesn't have anything to go through, so it just rebounds off of the rear fender, more or less. Swing arm, not the swing arm, the subframe. Rebounds off of that, rear tire kicks out to the opposite direction of which the corner is going. Pretty common situation that I don't know how he can launch that far to nearly flat and not have anything happen, but kudos to him. And at this point, just putting quali laps down out front, 2:04.2 last time by. I want to do a quick lap time check on Leclerc, then we'll go find some battles. 2:04.2, so they're matching pace. So at this point, you just got to hope if you're Leclerc or really anybody else that Johnson has a treasure trove of mistakes laden in him somewhere. Back to Pablo Vial now being caught by Braden Carter, and we're on the precipice here a little bit of having a slurry of former 450 champions here at the front. Braden Carter, two-time Supercross champion in the game, 2021 and 2022 Supercross champ. Joined a very exclusive list of just now 3 riders that have won multiple Supercross champions in MX Simulator, dating back to 2010. Brian Haskell was the first to do it in 2010 and 2011. And then Tyson Fresquez, arguably the greatest of all time in MX Simulator, did it 4 times in 2012, 2013, 2016, and 2017. But then 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21 were all single-time champions until Braden Carter became a 2-time champion this year. So riding a pretty good high off of Supercross, but still just has not really got his footing underneath of him for outdoors just yet. Trying to find the secret recipe. Up to Adam Holm versus Jack Haley. And like I said, a slew of 450 champions in this game. Adam Holm, the 2019 MXGP World Champion in MX Simulator. So whenever you see him race... Oh, as he goes down right there, I was going to say if you see him race the GPs, he rocks the number 2, but he's number 17 here in the Nationals. And he's going to go from a comfortable 3rd place down to 6th with 1 small mistake. So Carter now trying to close up on Vial as Jack Haley has some breathing room in 3rd place. And back to Leclerc versus Johnson. Again, a gap check. 7.7. 2:04.1. So Leclerc must have gone 2:03 something here to see where the gaps are at. Yeah, 2:03.2. So a full second faster that last time through. This is what we normally see out of Leclerc in the AMA Esport Motocross Championship competition. Basically just faster than everybody on the track and consistently so. So we're going to see if he can keep up this breakneck pace and try to close up on Payson Johnson for the race lead. Tell you what, man, it's fun to watch these guys kind of work their magic. As like I said earlier, myself was a professional from 2012 to 2017 in this game, and had the privilege of racing Leclerc for 4 years there, so I really got an inside look of what kind of racecraft he has. But to know that I raced him and then also watch him from this first-person vantage point and see how just talented he is at connecting this racetrack together. And I promise you, it's not easy whatsoever what they're doing. If any of you picked up this game right now, nobody's running anything close to a 2:03. I would be genuinely happy with a 2:13 on this track. And that's 10 seconds a lap slower. So it's very impressive. A lot of diligence, a lot of time spent perfecting the craft and getting good at this game. And Leclerc making it look pretty easy. There's someone ahead of him doing it even better right now as Johnson continues to lead the way 12 minutes in. And finally, Carter's gotten around Vial just in time to lay it over and let him right back by. So a position swap for 4th and 5th happens yet again as Vial goes to 4th and Carter slots back into 5th. Adam Holman 6th, Chase Blakely 7th, Tanner Rogers 8th, Reno Brennan 9th, and Phil Bull in 10th. Bryce Whelan, Heilman, Cavacuti, Hall, Forzaka back to 15th. Janice 16th. Cooper 17th. O'Brien 18th, Colgrass 19th, Carpenter 20th, which means Tyler Lang is out of the points. Wow, our championship leader is in 22nd, and he's just laid it down in a corner again. So he's lost another position. Pretty interesting to see how this is unfolding right here for a guy that knows how to win. And we saw just what Logan Leitzel was able to do in the 250 class. Didn't really put a foot wrong after starting well down the order, but in Lang's case right here, just not quite the case for the defending champion. Okay, we're just standing it up way down the hill, trying to get as far down the hill as he possibly can. Just a little insight to this as well. Lang in his championship quest last year went 1-1 at this very racetrack. At this point, he's just trying to mark people in front of him and see how far he can get. Got some guys battling amongst the top 20 positions here. We're going to sneak back up to the front because there's still some good stuff going on up here. So let's check in on the Johnson-Leclerc situation yet again. 6.8, 207.9, 206.7. 20-second advantage to Pablo Vial, who is now in third, but I'll tell you what, it's quite a bit slower than what they were doing. So I wonder, is it really that the track is kind of chewed up that much that they're slowing their pace down that much as well? Or did they both make a mistake last time by? And that would also suggest that there is more mistakes coming for Johnson or Leclerc. And if it's Johnson, obviously that opens up the door of opportunity for Leclerc as Johnson's gone down with the lead. Johnson is going to pick it up as Leclerc gets there, and Leclerc goes down just as he gets up. The opportunity was there. We were about to have a battle for the lead. And simultaneous crashes. Wow. So we'll do it again. And there's a lot of time still to figure this all out here, as Leclerc has made a huge mistake. 8.5 seconds is the gap. And Vial, who was 20 seconds behind Leclerc, is now 12 seconds behind him and bringing Jack Haley with him. Braden Carter coming with Jack Haley as well, so a little bit of a battle. Kind of a three-way battle for third, really more or less just a two-way battle for second right now, because Haley's not quite to Pablo Vial just yet, but I think he's going to get there soon. Good to see Jack Haley back on form. Talked to his teammate Daniel Mills before the Supercross season. Very much Mills was trying to push the narrative that Haley wasn't trying this year. Trying to just kind of have fun with the game, and whatever position he got is what he got. I might still be the exact same situation. He's just riding better outdoors, but really, I feel like so far, Jack Haley's been at least someone to consider for race victories in the AMA Esport Motocross Championship season, and showing exactly why, again, here at High Point. So Pablo Vial just trying to hit his marks ahead of this group. You can see the braking bumps across the start straight, though, starting to get a little bit more spread out. I mean, credit where credit's due. Vial has definitely survived a barrage of different attacks so far in this moto with still 13 minutes or so to go. But it just seems that around him, he's going a little bit slower than everybody, but doing so consistently, and that might be helping his case as everybody keeps crashing. But you can see how much Haley's now caught him, and the battle for third is well and truly on between Vial and Jack Haley. Oh, Haley a little bit long on that inside rut, had to kind of jam to the second rut there in line. That lost him a little bit of time, and here comes Carter. So again, this kind of two-rider battle that keeps yo-yoing, more or less a three-rider train, but it's not quite a battle just yet. It's close. And there you go. It's some inside insights by Josh Mertens, aka T-Rider, also known as the man behind System Decal in chat. So he knows a thing or two about what goes on behind the scenes in MX Simulator, especially Jack Haley, who he's buddies with. And as Carter's going to make the pass for fourth place, Mertens alluding to Haley making a pretty big change in his advance between rounds that has upped his consistency. So that's good to see that he's even toying around with some settings and even trying to change something that not many people touch in this game, which is your advanced stability, and trying to get a little bit better feeling from corner to corner. It is a tricky beast to get right, but Haley, just as quickly as Carter got around him, Haley fights right back at the inside of the off-camber and moves back into fourth place. So this is only helping Vial, who's in third, as these two go back and forth. Look at that line, though. Carter carrying so much momentum through that rut. And gosh, it was 3 corners, and they're already back on Vial again, so can maybe catch him at will at this point, but if they keep fighting each other, they're not going to have time to catch him. But now it seems as though Carter made a big enough mistake, so it's down to the two of these guys to battle it out for third. Ten minutes left to go in this one. Jack Haley pushing up to the rear tire of Pablo Vial for third place. Both of them get that tricky little triple to the inside. Ooh, Vial tossing a big one, landing sideways, and that's going to put him to the ground, but it puts Haley down as well. So Jack Haley, just as he had a door of opportunity open up, is going to go down as well. Carter into third. Vial gets going in fourth. Adam Holmes sneaks into the picture. He's now fifth, and he'll be right behind Pablo Vial. What a weird turn of events that was. It just goes to show how even the slightest variance of trying to land straight off of a jump can really throw you off. Vial to the outside, just using that outside bank to carry momentum. So now what was a battle for third has turned into a battle for fourth between Vial and now Adam Holm, as Carter moves into third place. Ayo, we got a battle for the lead because Johnson just went down. So Johnson, just picking it up from a crash coming onto the start straight right there, has an earful of Alexis Leclerc, and this is what we wanted to see. Leclerc looks like he has just a touch more pace in hand, I think, than Johnson, but we'll see if Johnson maybe opens up a little bit here, and just as it starts to get close, another mistake from Leclerc. Back out to 2.3 seconds, but it's still close enough that we can start talking about some mistakes coming into play here. At this point, it's a small bobble and Leclerc's in the race lead. It's not even a crash anymore. Leclerc looks a little bit better through that sequence of the racetrack coming down the hill. Keeping that gap right at 2 seconds. It landed right on the backside of that little knuckle on the inside. But it seems like Johnson was couple tenths faster through there. That's probably right there where Leclerc just landed off the right side of the track. That is most likely where we're seeing a lot of the penalties come from here tonight. I don't know exactly where the timing gates are located on the racetrack, but I can easily see guys clipping the takeoff timing gate and missing the landing timing gate where they're landing on the track right there, which means that, you know, from point A to point C, more or less, they're going a little bit faster because they're able to land on the embankment and then arc the corner better. That would be my guess as to where the penalties are coming from. I haven't seen too many other locations where obvious cuts are happening. Here and there, a couple guys sticking a nose off the track or whatever, but not blatantly so. Down to 1.4. And lap traffic going to play a bit of a factor here. 1.1, 206.3, 214.6. So it's definitely a crash for Johnson right through this section last time by. And Johnson trying to get through some lap traffic as he catches a huge swap coming into that corner right there. The 70 of Austin Bear just moves right aside to the inside of the track and going to let Leclerc go by as well and let their battles continue. So just as Leclerc was able to close up, Johnson has kicked it into another gear just a little bit, and I wonder if this is going to be one of his best laps of the race here late. But I mean, Leclerc's still there, hovering right at that 2-second mark. A little mistake, and Leclerc goes down. Flipping through at the bottom of our screen right there. Just got the rut wrong. That's all it takes. And Leclerc watches what was an opportunity to try to win this moto slip away, as Vial, getting all sideways at the bottom of the hill trying to collect it, now has Carter breathing down his neck, and we go from one battle to the other. Still for Tyler Lang in 16th, though. This is a big blow for his championship run for sure, if he stays there. Oh, Vial, another mistake. Here comes Carter trying to triple over top of him for third, and he'll get it. So Braden Carter finally takes over third place, and again, there's the landing off the outside of the track. Probably missing that timing gate. Roughly speaking, and this is a very roughly speaking, where you see the hay bales on the track is more than likely where timing gates are, but that's not always the case. It's more or less tops of jumps and middle points of corners that you can guarantee there are timing gates there. So I would assume where those hay bales are strewn across the track on the landing of the quad is a timing gate, but I'd have to open up the editor in game to actually see it. So we're not going to be able to see that from right now. But this is positive signs for Braden Carter, who, as we've mentioned many times this year thus far, not normally known for his outdoor prowess, not an outdoor guy even self-admittedly, but wants to get better, wants to challenge, and not just look like a Supercross only guy after his 2 back-to-back indoor titles. Up to third place he goes, though. And for Johnson and Leclerc, the gap is pretty understandable at this point. This comes down to whether or not another mistake is to come for Johnson. Back to 5th place, though, and a battle still remains here. Adam Holm and Jack Haley. A couple guys that won some titles in 2019 as Haley slides out. 2019 Supercross champ Jack Haley and 2019 MXGP World Champion Adam Holm battling for 5th. Haley just went down again on that inside rut, and that was not position right there, but position will be coming down the hill in the form of Reno Brennan. How about this? Reno Brennan, Wildside Designs, runs the number 0 on his bike, but I believe, 422 is the national number that he's using. This is the best result I think we're going to see from Brennan so far this year. I'm trying to remember if he's even been inside of the top 10 once. I think he may have actually crested it once last week at Thunder Valley. But this is good stuff for the number 0 of Reno Brennan. Bryce Whelan in 8th, Blakely 9th, Tanner Rogers 10th, John Heilman 11th, Phil Bull in 12th, Cavacuti 13th, and Tyler Lang is now 14th. And tell you what, based on where everybody is, it would be lucky for him to get into the top 10 at this point. He might only really have a shot to get Cavacuti, as Cavacuti is going to jump off the track, so Lang is going to take full advantage of that. But, I mean, Phil Bull is 15 seconds or so ahead of him. And then I guess the caveat there is if the 3 riders ahead of him go down, he's basically going to be right on them. And that would be a possibility for a top 10. But man, oh man, this has been an utter disaster for Tyler Lang. Talk about going back to the first round and Tyler Lang not finishing inside of the top 5 in either moto at the first round of the season was a little bit like, oh man, should we be worried? Defending champ, maybe the championship hangover a little bit. But then he followed it up at the second round with a 2-2, and the third round another 2-2, just off of the knocker there of missing a race victory as he scrubs the bejesus out of that step up. I don't know how he didn't go down. Gonna lose a couple spots in the process, but man, this is just not the same Tyler Lang that we saw last year right here. And it's not necessarily that he's not going fast. He's going fast, but the Lang that we saw last year was, I guess mature is the right word. He was very methodical about his approach to each race, worked through the field very well, even on his bad nights. And when he was up front, he often made sure to optimize it the best as possible with either a win or at the very least a second or a podium. It just doesn't seem like that's what we're looking at right now with him. He seems like he's making far too many mistakes, uncomfortable. Not sure really what it is, but it's just not going his way right now. And that's going to be tough. A tough pill to swallow for him if he leaves this moto with less than top 10 quality points, really. Would be a big detriment for him. Bryce Whelan and John Heilman are side by side here coming off the Carmichael double. 45 and 44 in the program book for you folks. As Heilman gets kicked sideways, it goes off the track and lose a little bit of time, but we'll get going. A few seconds down now of Whelan. Whelan trying to tail Tanner Rogers. Tanner Rogers trying to catch Chase Blakely. Reno Brennan pretty much all by himself. Jack Haley, Adam Holm, Pablo Vial, Braden Carter, Alexis Leclerc, and Payson Johnson, who just checked in with about 30 seconds left on the clock. So most certainly we are looking at 3 laps to go right now. 2:06.8 last time through for Johnson. 2:06.5 for Leclerc. 13.2 seconds is the gap between them. But again, it just comes down to Johnson making a mistake. That's been the premise since we started this moto and kind of the premise all year thus far. Clearly, Johnson has some sort of vendetta, something to prove after Supercross didn't go his way whatsoever. Was terrific outdoors in the 250 class last year to win the 250 National Championship in 2021. But man, something about what he's putting out in 2022 in this 450 class just seems a little bit extra special as he makes a small mistake right there. Again, another minor mistake, but nothing crazy just yet. So the 2-lap board will come out this time by, and Johnson is in full cruise control at the front. No one is even close, as mentioned. How about Pablo Vial getting back into 3rd place, though? He has repassed Braden Carter and maybe looks the best he's looked so far on the track right now. Couple riders down in that corner. Wow, what happened to Carter? Good gravy. 2:22.7 last time by. He's lost 22 seconds in the last lap and a half. This lap time is also going to be awful. He has just put 2 terrible laps together at the worst possible time because he's got no time left to make it back. So to get even 4th now, he's going to need a crash from Jack Haley. But he was ahead of Pablo Vial a lap and a half ago. And now Vial has 13 seconds on Haley and another 9 seconds behind Haley to Carter. Crazy turn of events. I don't know what the heck happened. But certainly was not good for the number 9 machine. Oh, that's not good either. Big off. Yeah. Oh, man. Adam Holmes going to go by. I wonder, Carter might have his bike set up a little bit better for the smoother version of this racetrack, but the constant wear and tear of 40 riders spinning laps on this track has certainly added some really big braking bumps, some really peculiar chop as well, some square edge stuff. And it seems like maybe that's a problem that he's dealing with right now. I have to watch him a little bit more to be sure as he kind of hops over some bumps. Yeah, look at him. You can see how much the bars are kind of tweaking through the chatter right there. It's just not looking too comfortable. Adam Holmes down, though, so he's going to go back into 5th. Man, did a 222, followed it up with a 234. So, I mean, pretty much just lost 40 seconds in the last couple of laps. That's crazy. But as mentioned, Holm went down, so good for Carter at least. Brennan sneaking up into the picture. Jace Blakely, Bryce Whelan, John Heilman, Tanner Rogers, same cast of characters we saw before. And then Tyler Lang, who actually could still get lapped and looks like he'll finish 14th in this one. That is a huge blow for him. Whoa, what's going on here? What the heck? Mason Johnson has got a 40-second lead right now as Leclerc put down a 234. Man, Pablo Vial is suddenly closing up on Leclerc. It's going to be a huge win for Johnson. But what I was just noticing right there is that the cameras were not resetting even though Johnson was like 4 sections ahead of this. So I was a little bit concerned there for a second that he had missed some timing gates, but it seems like it was just a camera malfunction there for a moment. As Leclerc checks in second place, and this is all Payson Johnson at this point. He has got no pressure from behind and smooth sailing ahead of him, trying to see. Nah, it's another 10 seconds up the road before he'd even hit lap traffic. So now it's kind of a whip off, just throwing a little Oppa whip up the hill. Corked upside down on the quad. And he's just having fun with it. But when you have a 40-second lead in the hardest motocross class in MX Simulator, you can kind of do this. Kind of have a little bit of fun on the last lap of the race. Look at that scrub. Are you serious? Literally dragged handlebar. That's why the bars are so corked to the inside right there. This dude is on a different level in 2022. And it's pretty fascinating to watch. But also, is anybody going to stop him? It's looking less and less likely as each passing moto goes by. He's going to drop down the hill. Let's hook that inside rut, spin it back up the hill again. And Payson Johnson is on his way to a moto victory here. 450 Moto 1 at High Point goes to the 51. Payson Johnson gets it done in PA. Alexis Leclerc should be an easy second. Vial third. Jack Haley is putting a late charge into it here for this final podium spot. Trying to close the gap down to Pablo Vial, who just went exit stage right on our screen. Leclerc still has yet to cross the line, but I think he's about to ahead of these guys as Haley charges down the hill behind Vial one more time. And Leclerc will check in 36 seconds down in the end. Payson Johnson, Vial, first podium. 2 Frenchmen on the podium here in 450 Moto 1. 1.7 down at the end was Jack Haley. Adam Holm coming down the hill in 5th place. Looks good for that spot. Hey, Reno Brennan did get into 6th. Brayton Carter continues to flounder late in this one. So Reno Brennan going to have a career best result with a 6th place finish. Carter is going to get 7th. Blakely looking like he's going to wrap this one up in 8th. Tanner Rogers pretty close to Blakely as well, but should stay 9th barring a late crash here by somebody. As Holm does indeed cross 5th. Carter crosses Oh, 6. So Brennan went down in the last turn by the looks of it. That's unfortunate. It will be Rogers crossing 9th behind Blakely. John Heilman rounds out the top 10. Bryce Whelan will pick up an 11th. Phil Bull 12th. For Zach a 13th. Lang trying to give it one last-ditch effort for maybe 13th spot. But it looks like it will be all for naught as Tyler Lang, 14th place for the champ. Very, very rough first moto here at High Point for the number 1 machine. Cavacuti with a 15th and Chris Post with a 16th. Matthias Janis 17th. Castellaneta actually ends up in 17th, excuse me. Matthias Janis dropped to 18th. Kyle Carpenter 19th. Jeff Cooper was the final points paying position in 20th. Looks like Rogers lost position on cuts to Heilman, so Heilman gets 9th. And the rest stayed the same as Johnson dominates 450 Moto 1 at High Point. Boy, oh boy, is there going to be anybody that can stop Payson Johnson? I have no freaking clue. But, man, he has looked so good so far in 2022, and it's going to be tough to beat that number 51 machine. Back in studio with you guys, Kellen Brower bringing you guys the action here for round 4 of the AMA Esport Motocross Championship in MX Simulator, sanctioned by Init Esports and RaceFactorGaming.com. Yeah, halfway through the night here. 2 motos left to go, so 250 Moto 2 coming up next. Of course, we saw a frantic fight to the line in the first 250 Moto. Eventually, Cooper Hunt crossed the line first with Nathan Prince 0.7 of a second behind him, but due to a penalty system that is applied post-race based on off-track excursions that the game itself does actually do, Nathan Prince was gifted the race victory in 250 Moto number 1, and he needed every bit of it because even though Prin was battling for the lead the entire time in that moto, is actually Logan Leitzel, our championship leader, who is coming from well down the order, trying to catch up, and actually made it to the final podium spot in 3rd place. So pretty incredible stuff for Leitzel to get all the way back to 3rd, and for Prin, just a bit of a bonus there to actually get the win because he got an extra 3 points towards the championship. So now claws it from 33 back of Leitzel down to just 28 points. And we're going to see if that trend continues in Moto 2 or if something else happens here in just a moment. So, yeah. All right. Second moto's coming up. Quick shout out to Matt Robb for the $14.99 Australian dollars, I think. The A dollar is usually Aussie dollars. He says, "You're a legend, Kellen. Thanks for taking your time to stream these motos week in and week out." No, thank you, folks, for tuning in every week. And, of course, show your support to the people that help put this on and make it possible. I would love if you guys go over to Init Esports on Twitch. Also follow them over there because we're broadcasting not only on the Start Your Systems YouTube page, but the Init Esports Twitch page. So please be sure to thank them, help them out, give them a follow, give them a like, go to initesports.gg as well and support their happenings over there. And ESTV, Esports Television. We're on ESTV Plus and ESTV. I've seen that for tonight, actually, schedule-wise, we're having the recast of Round 2 being displayed on ESTV. So if you're interested in watching more MX Simulator action once this is wrapped up, go over to ESTV. You can watch the recast of Round 2. Big shout-out to them. They've been awesome so far this year in getting our content up. And hopefully, not only you guys have been enjoying the show, but they have as well. And maybe they'll stick around for moving forward in MX Simulator. That'd be really cool as well. So thanks so much to them. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's give you guys a quick reminder of what happened, at least inside of the top 10 for 250 Moto number 1. As mentioned, it was Prin who got the lawyer win essentially on that one. Cooper Hunt was eventually second after the penalties were applied. Logan Leitzel third, Johan Bordeaux fourth, and Luke Sullivan in fifth with Frank Jackson in sixth. And all of those riders ended up finishing within 10 seconds of each other. Frank Jackson was 10.7 seconds down at the line, which is it's crazy how close that all ended up. Shedding a small tear right now, seeing that nobody except for Leith Ness and Leith Ness, Brett Powers, Daniel Irvine, and Brent Heitzelman. There's only 4 riders with a UID less than 10,000. For reference, my UID is 4,928. So making me feel real old that the entire 250 class isn't over 10K UID. And a UID is just your user identification number associated with your registration key in the game. So it's in order of who bought the game. UID number 2, the first person that ever bought the game, is a guy named August Sanders, who we've seen race many, many times in the series. One of the lowest UIDs still actively racing is Daniel Mills, who races in the 450 class. He's UID number 21, I believe. But there's a lot of guys that we've seen over the years with real low UIDs. And now, let's see, what's the highest UID? So we got a 42,000, 43,000, a 48,000. So yeah, highest UID in the 250 class, Millie Soderblom, 48,900. And just as a reference, that is someone who was the 48,000th person to buy MX Simulator, and at $42 a pop, it's quite a decent amount of change for Josh Vanderhoof, the sole proprietor and creator of the game. But if Millie Soderblom is 48,900 in racing pro races, there's probably people that have bought the game after him that are not racing pro yet because they haven't had the time to develop their skills, which means there's probably over 50,000 people that have bought this game, which is really cool. I don't know if JLV's ever really like kind of cared or kept track of that number, but yeah, I mean, that's just that's pretty cool. You can't sell your UID. You can, but if they ever catch somebody doing it, it's usually not going to go well for them. Lachlan Levy asks, what happened to the old big hitters like Tyson, Fjellberg, Byron, Jeremy Smith, Hunter Root? So Tyson Fresquez retired from the game 3 years ago now. His last race was 2019. Tyson was a teenager when he turned pro. I think he was 15 when he turned pro in 2011 he turned pro when he was 15, and then raced until 2019. So he was about 23 or 24 when he officially retired. And that's usually the age we see a lot of guys kind of retire from the game. I myself was pro from when I was 19 until I was 25. And it sounds stupid, but the reality is nobody makes a lot of money from this game. Nobody has much tie into, I guess make a living off of this game is the right way to put it. And because of that, what ends up happening... Sorry, Lang, just taking a little bit longer for loading. But what ends up happening is you have people have like real jobs, real lives take over, and they just can't play the game as much anymore, and they lose that skill set. So that's, I think, what started happening with Tyson. Dennis Fjellberg still actively races here and there. We saw Byron Downer race some Supercross this year. Jeremy Smith raced a lot of Supercross this year. And Hunter Root did 3 or 4 rounds of Supercross this year, but he doesn't really show up that much for Nationals anymore either. So, yep. Sorry about that, Tyler. Just trying to get all these skins loaded in. All right, 250 Moto 2. Going to the gate. Got that track script loaded. Revs are up. 30 cards already off the side of the track. Here we go. 250 Moto 2 is off and running. Gonna try to figure out who actually gets to the first corner first. It looks like Daniel Irvine nosed in there first, but Johnny Padani is going to come through and pick up the Studio 8 Hole Shot Award. We had a little bit of a lighter gate this time. Looks like only about 33 guys started this one. But Padani with the hole shot quickly hands it over to Austin Irwin, and a big pileup coming down the rollers down the hill right there. So Irwin takes the lead. Padani second. Irvine in third with Luke Sullivan in fourth place. Alec Horn, who hole shot the first moto, he's in fifth right there on the 59. Is that the 25 or the 29? It's the 25 of Jaden Wilson who's up there, but no sign of Leitzel. I don't see Prin. How about Austin Irwin getting the experience of leading a national here? That's pretty cool. The Empire number 212. Wow, Prin 32nd. Actually, we did end up having a pretty full gate here. 36 guys start, and Irwin goes down. So Padani takes over the race lead, and yet again, another interesting scenario here because Padani is a guy that definitely has the skills to battle for podiums, race wins, whatever you want to call it, but has been rather awful so far outdoors. And we'll see if he can rein it in and try to pull away at the start of this moto with all the championship rivals buried in the field. So Cooper Hunt is in 12th. Bordeaux is in 13th. We're trying to see where Logan Leitzel is as everybody tries to jockey for position at the top of the hill. So really Luke Sullivan, who was 5th in the first moto, in a pretty good spot here, trying to battle for second place as he comes over the hill side by side there with one of the Aspect Visual riders. That's the 52 of Daniel Irvine. So is it yet another set of bad starts out of Logan Leitzel? Is he going to have to claw his way all the way up into the podium spots again? That is a brutal ascent. Cade Matherly, 31st. That's a terrible start for him. Still have not officially seen Logan Leitzel. Wow, Nathan Print dead last. He's in 36th. So your Moto 1 winner is currently dead last as they all chase Johnny Padani. And Leitzel is 7th. Bordeaux's already up to 8th. It looks like Bordeaux just went down, though. He's kind of fading down through the field. Let's go find these guys. There's Leitzel. He is right behind the 142 of Jet Holyhead. And ahead of the 183 of Millie Soderblom. So tough luck there for Bordeaux, who is kind of chasing Leitzel towards the front here. Must have gotten collected with a couple guys. And suddenly Sullivan, who is in a great position, is only 2 spots ahead of Leitzel. And Leitzel finished 2 spots ahead of Sullivan in the first moto. And scored 4 more points than him. So at the moment, Leitzel might have the overall with like a 3-7. I don't know. Things are all over the board right now. Alec Horn just getting passed there by Sullivan, though. Next up, Daniel Irvine as Sullivan tries to fight forward once again. Leitzel already up to 5th. Wow. So this is your top 5, basically nose to tail coming down the hill. Padani leading from Daniel Irvine. Now it's Luke Sullivan that moves into 2nd. Alec Horn 3rd and Leitzel in 4th. And now Alec Horn goes down. Takes Jet Holyhead with him, so Irvine goes by. Soderblom goes by. That is Jaden Wilson going through. Cooper Hunt gets into Frank Jackson. They almost go down. J.R. Ray is going by on the 73. And Alec Horn trying to fight back with J.R. Ray is going off the side of the track. Nathan Print up to 26. We'll go back and track his progress soon, but the battle for the lead is not over yet. Especially with this man starting to close up. Leitzel Man, he is on a mission this year. At first moto, another thing that happened in that first moto was it broke up a streak of only first or second place finishes in the motos for Leitzel. He had gone, I think, 2-1, 1-1, 1-2 to start the year. And just trying to get back into the top 2 positions, I guess, but obviously wants to win this second moto. And with it, the overall, if he can. So Johnny Pedani continuing to lead the Hungarian rider on the number 180 machine out front. Second place is Luke Sullivan, the number 11, right in front of the man we're on board with, Logan Leitzel, championship leader on the Yogi Designs number 16. And after Printon closed that gap back down slightly in the first moto, Leitzel's looking at doing a bit of a doozy to him here in the second moto and really stretching it back out. Printon has got so much work to do. Let's actually go back and find him before it's too late. There he is in 22nd now. 2:06.8. So, hey, he's running some pretty competitive lap times in traffic. You got to give him credit for that. But he's also got to pass a lot of guys. He's now behind Austin Irwin, who was our early leader. And Irwin's kind of crashed his way back to this position. Whoa, Irwin goes down. Print ends up super scrubbing that tabletop. But still not into the points just yet. Has a little bit of work to do to get there. And then pass all these guys as we go back to our leader, Johnny Pedani. This is a cool story, though. Pedani, Hungarian rider, currently lives in Ireland and riding for the Underground RC Field Ski and Snowboard program this year. Was pretty solid in Supercross, to be fair, for a guy that we hadn't seen on the professional scene, at least in the NA side. Jumped over to the NA series this year, I guess, and boy, oh boy, he has been pretty solid, but hasn't quite really put it all together outdoors yet. It seems like he's been a lot of hit and miss with some strong motos, some bad motos. Now to be leading and kind of show what the pace is that he has to offer. Really neat to see the number 180 machine out front, but Luke Sullivan is lurking, as is Logan Leitzel. And our front 3 have separated from the rest of the pack as Jaden Wilson now in 4th. So what's going to happen first in this front 3? It's a bit of an anomaly to figure out whether or not Leitzel's catching Sullivan faster than Sullivan's catching Pedani, because they're both kind of catching them at the same rate, I guess. The question is kind of who gets to who first. Right now it does seem like Sullivan has maybe a little bit more of the upper hand in terms of closing up on Pedani for the race lead. And this is a little bit all to play for Sullivan as well. A 5-1 would beat a 3-3, not a 3-2. A 3-2 would still beat a 5-1. A 3-2 is 42 points. A 5-1 is, well, it's actually 41 points, yeah. So 5-1, 41 points. A 3-2 would be 42 points. So Sullivan would need to pass Pedani and then hope Pedani holds off Logan Leitzel for 21 minutes. But anything is possible if you really put your mind to it. And Sullivan is going to hope that Pedani really puts his mind to holding Logan Leitzel at bay if he's able to take the lead. But Pedani does not want to give up this race lead. Hitting his marks, doing the same lap over and over again. 2:08.3, 2:07.4, his best. 5 laps in, that seems to be about his pace as Sullivan makes a small bobble, and suddenly what was going to be a battle for the lead is suddenly a battle for second place instead. Sullivan has fallen to the clutches of Logan Leitzel. Oof, Sullivan rips off a naughty scrub coming up to that step up out of the valley, though. Trying to put a bit of a heater down and pull back away from Leitzel, but I feel like this is one of those situations where now that Leitzel's on him, he's not going to let him go without a pretty serious mistake. I mean, even there, Leitzel just made a small mistake and might actually complete a pass. He's trying to get a nose to the inside here, but Sullivan fights to the outside. Nearly comes to blows at the top of the hill. Sullivan might go through the front door. He's down. Leitzel's down. They're both off the bike. So the two of them fighting each other has helped Padani a ton here. Amazingly, Leitzel still picks it up in second. And Sullivan still picks it up in third. That just shows the gap that they already had on everybody else. As Trent Adams gets kicked a little bit sideways, so Cooper Hunt goes by. It's another person we have to think about here. Cooper Hunt is starting to sneak up into the picture just a little bit. And now that those two went down, they're not that far ahead of him either. Wow, that was a nice move by Jaden Wilson at the back of our screen right there to outside pass Trent Adams there on the 43. He just, I don't know how he read that situation so well, but he just went to the spots that Adams wasn't going to and just hit both corners so well. And now he's got the drive to maybe even pass Cooper Hunt. Jaden Wilson, where did this come from? My goodness, he's absolutely flying right now. Back to Sullivan, Leitzel, and Padani, who lands off the side of the track. And this battle continues to rage on. So Wilson was ripping there for like 4 corners, and then Cooper Hunt says, no, sir. Come on back. Reel it back in. Definitely the best we've seen of Cooper Hunt so far in 2022, and he is maybe giving himself an opportunity to win an overall here today. Pushing up on Jaden Wilson. They're trying to push maybe each other. Both going after the 2 riders ahead of them, Luke Sullivan and Logan Leitzel, as Padani continues to lead the race. There's Sullivan. No, actually, change for the lead. Logan Leitzel takes it over at the end of lap number 6. So Padani, I don't know if he went down. He must have gone down. That gap was way too far away to lose that much time. But Leitzel has taken over the lead, and coupled with his third in the first moto, the only person that could beat him by finishing second is Prin. A 3-1 beats a 2-2 if Cooper Hunt does it. So Leitzel kind of controls his own destiny, and we're going to have to see how far Prin can get up in this moto and see if it's anywhere close to what we just saw from Leitzel in the first moto. Leitzel came from, 36th, which is where Prin was, to 3rd place. So can Prin do the same as we start to approach the halfway point of 250 Moto number 2? Well, with Leitzel leading, Prin has to do everything he can to damage control here. And I'll tell you what, he's done a pretty good job so far. Not yet halfway. He's climbed from 36th to 10th. It cut the track a little bit right there, so that'll come back to bite him later on. But he's trying to make this pass on the 274 of Evan Holt. Oh my gosh, how does he make that line work? I thought there wasn't going to be any room out there, but Holt played him pretty well. And in the end, 9th place goes over to Nathan Prin. 208, 206.8 his best. And it looks like he is starting to put the hammer down a little bit here. He has got a little bit of time up to Frank Jackson, then a lot of time up to the next group ahead of that. Our three leaders are still pretty nose to tail here with Leitzel, Padani, and the number 11 of Luke Sullivan, 1, 2, and 3. Well, we are at halfway, so we'll give you guys a top 20 rundown real quick before anything else chaotic happens. But Logan Leitzel, the Yogi Designs number 16 machine, leads the way here at High Point. Johnny Padani, Underground RC, fills Ski and Snowboard number 180, sitting in second. Luke Sullivan, Panini Motorsports, number 11 in third. Jaden Wilson, the number 25 Panini Motorsports ride, coming through here in fourth place. Cooper Hunt, Conquistador Guacamole number 13, is in fifth. Sixth for Trent Adams on the Yogi Designs number 43, right behind him. Seth Shirley, Braxton Worldwide, number 23, is in seventh. Frank Jackson, number 32, fills Underground RC number 32 back there in 8th. Nathan Prynn in 9th. Johan Bordeaux, Panini Motorsports in 10th. Evan Holt, Stuhlbend is in 11th. SwapAutoLive.com's J.R. Reyes, number 73, is in 12th. Impact's Alec Horn is in 13th. Privateer Ride of Noah McLaughlin is in 14th. Covenant's Jet Holyhead is in 15th. Braden Tharp on the CV number 53 moves to 16th. Daniel Irvine, number 52 Aspect Visual machine, moves to 17th. Leith Ness on the BCR 187, 18th. Nick Tomasunis, MXLocker.com, number 69, now 19th. And Alex Zellner on the 926 Vermoto ride rounds out our points paying positions. Irvine goes down, brings a couple guys with them, and more positions shuffled around at the back of the field. Well, despite Leitzel now leading almost 3 full laps, he has not really shaken the pressure from behind out of Padani nor Luke Sullivan. We'll see if those guys can stick with him, or really what happens here. Common sense kind of says that Leitzel's pace from the first moto just holds up here in the second moto, and he slowly inches away from these guys and cruises to an easy win. But MX Simulator certainly plays a lot of different faces, and it's not as simple as just pull away and win every single time. Otherwise, everybody would do it. So for Leitzel, kind of back to hitting your marks, focusing on just your own lines, doing what you can do, and not really worrying about what's happening behind you. Because if you think about the fact that Badani and Sullivan are still close, you start riding behind you a little bit, start missing your marks, making a couple of mistakes, they will be much closer within a few laps time if you start riding like that. So focus ahead and find the lines that are comfortable for you at this stage of the race. Remember, the track is still deteriorating as each passing lap goes through. Seems like Sullivan's starting to close up on Padani just a little bit now as lap traffic starts to come into play. Let's see what number that is that's trying to sneak out of the way here ahead of these guys. Oh, someone just, whoever it was, he just tried to jump the triple but forgot there was a wall there that you hit if you jump too far. So Padani and Sullivan about to link up in a battle for second place. And as a reminder, Sullivan, the 5-2 performance here could still maybe get second overall depending on where Cooper Hunt gets to. As well as Nathan Prynn. And Prynn has been just chopping away the time from behind these guys. Jaden Wilson still runs in 4th. Trent Adams is now 5th. Frank Jackson 6th. Cooper Hunt 7th. Bordeaux is in 8th. Shirley 9th, Evan Holt, Alec Horn, Braden Tharp, and then Prynn. So Prynn has gone backwards a little bit. Not ideal for the 12. Ooh, and Tharp going down in front of him. Really got kicked for a bit of a loop right there. That was interesting to see the way that sequence just unfolded. And back to the battle for second because it remains close. Badani and Sullivan separated by no less than a second. Or no more than a second, I should say. Well, this is what I wanted to see out of Padani, really, in this moto. Even if he doesn't end up winning this, this is a huge step in the right direction for him in terms of outdoor performance. Because, again, it's not as though he doesn't have the speed. He's a very talented rider that can put down a lap with the best of them. It's the consistency that you have to work on, especially a rider getting into the series for the first time and trying to get his feet wet. You just have to work on doing the same stuff over and over again and making it a constant repetition. That's how guys win and then win again and win again and win again. They just figure it out and then learn how to do that same sequence that they just did, but over and over again. That's where Leitzel's at right now. He's in the flow, feeling the pace. I'll tell you what's a bummer. Jaden Wilson had almost caught this battle and he just went down in the background. We just saw him at the tail end of that uphill. But now the battle for second is firmly on, and that is going to be Luke Sullivan taking advantage of a small bobble out of Padani to get that second place finally notched away. So Sullivan up into second place, looking at that 5.2 performance, but what he's really probably looking at is about 4 seconds up the track. There's a green machine that still could be caught if things really get crazy here in the final 10 minutes of this moto. Leitzel has lap traffic to deal with, an ever-changing track, and a lot of other factors that will not play into his favor. Whereas Sullivan will just try to match his pace. Now, Padani's not done yet, though. And Sullivan off the side of the track nearly. Padani tries to fight back to the inside. Oh, Sullivan. Whew. It always freaks me out when those guys start to kind of double whip a little bit. Is that gap coming down? 3.9. 207.1. So Leitzel's best lap is definitely better than Sullivan's, but is he still able to do a similar pace? It's extended out to 4 seconds. I thought the gap was coming down a little bit there, but maybe my mind was just reading a little bit more into it. I do want to get a lap time check this time by, though, to confirm pace-wise, what are these guys doing in free air? All right, lap time check, 208 flat, 208.8. All right, so maybe we got something brewing here. If Sullivan can start knocking those off lap after lap, he'll get to Logan Leitzel before this is over. And again, lap traffic coming into play. Timmy Briscoe moves aside on the 309. Gonna see who is just ahead of him. That's a 713 machine. Oh, and Sullivan goes down, I should say. So Padani's going to shoot back into second place. And that battle we thought might be brewing is now not happening. I wonder if that's Sullivan pushing the pace just a little bit beyond his comfort zone, as Jaden Wilson is hung up in a rut again. So Cooper Hunt is up to fifth. A 2.5 versus Sullivan's 5.3 at the moment favors Cooper Hunt for second overall in the day. However, you have to keep in mind where Nathan Prynne could get to as he tries to go to the outside here of Seth Shirley in the first corner complex. And will make it happen now behind fellow Frenchman Johan Bordeaux. These guys going to go to the outside, cut across to do that double. Low line, then double down the hill, double again, and double for a third time. To the outside of Bordeaux for 7th. Whoa, rider coming back on the track. Brilliant track re-entry there by 170 something. I didn't quite see the full number. 174. But Prin does get the pass and goes to 7th. So 1-7 now for Prin. Got 6th place right in front of him, but it's going to be a doozy to get to Wilson or Cooper Hunt up the road, I would say. And Logan Leitzel's in his own zip code. But here's Sullivan trying to get back into 2nd place, which would, at the time being, get him 2nd overall as well. Tough math there. 5-2. So 5-2, 16 plus 22, that's 38 points. A 1-7 is 25 plus 14. So yeah, never mind. Prin would be 2nd overall with a 1-7 versus the 2-5 and 5-2 sequence going on here. As Sullivan tries to get into 2nd place around Padani. If Cooper Hunt can get to 4th, he will guarantee himself a 2nd place finish, though. Or at least guarantee that Prin will have to pass 2 more riders to get back there. For Sullivan, this is just simply a pass to try to tie Cooper Hunt for what either could be 2nd or 3rd overall, depending on how it all shakes out. Going to try to go to the outside here coming down the hill. Padani actually made that inside line, rolling it. Worked pretty well, but Sullivan, wow, still charges to the outside, and contact between the two of them. Sullivan goes down, Padani relatively unfazed, and that is that foreigner's lag that we often talk about. Padani based out of Ireland, and this server based out of the east coast of the United States, where I think Sullivan is. I don't remember exactly where Sullivan's from, but I think he's somewhere more either middle or east coast of the U.S., so he's definitely closer to the server than Padani is. And that little bit of lag probably caused him to go down and kept Padani unscathed from any contact there. It's allowed Logan Leitzel to extend out to a 13-second advantage here with 3 minutes and 2 laps to go. Jaden Wilson at Cooper Hunt. He is trying to get Jaden Wilson for 4th. Again, kind of controlling his own destiny here. A 2-4 beats a 1-7 and a 1-6. If I did that math right. Or yeah, 2-4 would be a 40 points. A 1-6 would also be 40 points if I think I have it correct. Yeah, 1-6 would also be 40 points. However, Cooper Hunt better 2nd moto score than Nathan Prin right now. And Prin is into 7th. Trying to close up on Trent Adams for 6th. But Prin, as of right now, still actually has the advantage on Hunt and Sullivan as well for 2nd overall. But there goes Jaden Wilson through the front door. So Cooper Hunt does indeed move into 4th place. Wilson's going to get going just as Trent Adams crests the hill, and Prin went down behind them, and Bordeaux's going to go back by. So that actually really secures it for Cooper Hunt to get 2nd overall. With Seth Shirley on the 23 now getting into the fray as well with these guys in a battle for 7th place. Look at this, Prin fighting back on Bordeaux to the inside to get back into 7th. But now, instead of being a few seconds down to Trent Adams, he's 13 seconds behind Trent Adams with a long road to climb in front of him. Johnny Padani still running in 2nd with a minute left on the clock. And the question then remains, will Luke Sullivan get to him and swing a podium his way? Well, it wouldn't actually matter because the 1-7 still beats a 2-5 by 1 point. And that's what Sullivan's trying to do. He's trying to go 5-2 here today. So as long as Prin finishes 7th or better, Sullivan, at least for the time being, is not going to be on the podium. But we'll see. He's going to try to get Padani. And that's going to be easy because Padani just went down. So, oh, easier said than done, I suppose. Leitzel, or I keep saying Leitzel, Sullivan lays it over, and Padani picks it back up and gets right back by for 2nd. So now the battle for second is truly on. Sullivan tries to close back up onto Padani. He gets kicked a little bit sideways right there. Always nerves me out a little bit when those guys elect to brake tap while kicking out from a bad kick on the face of a jump, because it stalls out the gyro of the engine, won't correct it at that point. So you're just brake tapping to pretty much land sideways on purpose. And Sullivan might have an inside move here. Well, Padani goes to square it off and then goes down, and they get tangled up together. They're both down and off the bike. Who will get up first? Well, Padani rolls onto Sullivan. He's stuck on Padani as he's trying to get going. He'll finally cross over the line now into second place. Padani gets going in third, but that just allowed Cooper Hunt and Trent Adams behind him and Jaden Wilson behind him to close up a lot of time on those guys. And they're not necessarily that close, but close enough. And I thought maybe Padani missed the finish line based on how those timing gates were loading. But Cooper Hunt now going to close up a little bit more. Trent Adams, Jaden Wilson, Bordeaux, and Prinz still going at it for 7th. Like I said, time has expired, so this last time through is actually the 2-lap board being waived for race leader Logan Leitzel, and Prinz, nice inside move on Bordeaux to get back into 7th place. Here's Cooper Hunt and Jaden Wilson coming down the hill. Hunt's just been passed by Adams and Jaden Wilson right there. Wow. So Cooper Hunt falling off the overall podium and falling off his bike as well. That is only going to help Luke Sullivan's chances of getting on the box here today, as Nathan Prin will then close up to Cooper Hunt. He's trying to get 2nd overall. So Luke Sullivan, 5-2 performance right now after Padani coughed it away. And is this white flag waving? It is. White flag is out. Logan Leitzel on his way to yet another moto victory this year. It will be his 5th moto win of the season. And honestly, this is getting a little out of hand for the rest of the field, because he's going to gain a lot of points back on Nathan Prin there. Talk about starting the season just about exactly as how you would draw it up here. Logan Leitzel has been on a tear. He's won every overall to this point as well. 2-1 at the opener to win at Fox Raceway. 1-1 at Hangtown to win at Hangtown. And then a 1-2 last week for first overall at Thunder Valley. And on the board, or on the way, I should say, to his 4th straight overall win to start the year. As mentioned, it'll be his 5th moto win from 8 tries. And the only thing that he'll maybe be bummed about is that he didn't get at least 2nd in the first moto to keep the top 2 streak alive through 8 motos to start the year. But he will at least keep an every moto podium streak alive to start the year. And the only 3 results that he has aside from wins are 2 seconds and a 3rd place. Like I said, it is pretty incredible the way things are going so far for Leitzel in 2022. And might not have any signs of slowing down as we move into some tracks that I'm sure he's very fond of, like Redbud and Southwick coming up in a few weeks' time. So 2 more corners to go as Leitzel brings it down off the top of the hill here. Just working his way through that rough stuff on the plateaus of the fire roads. Scrubs one more time and hits the uphill triple. Front flip for style. It's a 3-1 on the day and his 4th straight overall win. Logan Leitzel gets it done at High Point. And Padani has gotten back into 2nd place. Luke Sullivan has really thrown this thing away. Jaden Wilson and then Cooper Hunt. Trent Adams and Bordeaux going at it. Wow, Nathan Prin has fallen way back unless I missed him. Oh, wow. Yeah, Nathan Prin is well down the order. What happened? 15th place. Prin imploding a bit here. And this championship is going to be blown wide open. More so than it already was. We're going to have to do the math when all is said and done here. Prin might actually even lose second in the championship. After this, he's going to go to 14th. I don't know what the heck happened in a couple sequence of laps, but he's gone from 7th to 14th in a hurry, and he's down again. I think this is all frustration coming boiling out here for Nathan Prin. He is not satisfied with the way things have unfolded in this second moto, and really letting it show here. So Sullivan was 23 points down of Nathan Prin. I don't think it's going to get that far removed at this point. As, yeah, even in the first moto, Prin gained another 9 points up on Sullivan right there. So he would have been 32 points back. It's not going to lose 32 points this moto, but we're going to have to do some math on where the heck the championship lies, because it is not looking good for anybody else as Prin goes down again. That is going to cost him 15th. It's going to cost him 16th. It might cost him 17th and 18th as well. He's going to get going just as J.R. Reyes gets there. Prin and J.R. Reyes having a bit of a fight. Prin slides out coming up the uphill. J.R. Reyes passes him. And Prin, in the final stages of this one, goes from maybe getting 7th to getting 17th. Wow. So Tomasunis is going to get some points in 19th. Carson West was 20th. Braden Tharp was 18th. Ahead of Prin, J.R. Reyes, Buddy Parker, Evan Holt, Noah McLaughlin, Sean Hambrook, Cade Matherly inside of the top 20 there, down to 11th. Jackson was 10th. Alec Horn 9th. Seth Shirley 8th. Bordeaux 7th, Adams 6th, Hunt was 5th, Sullivan ended up 4th, Jaden Wilson 3rd, Badani 2nd, and Leitzel with the overall win. We're still waiting for one more rider to finish. What a night, though. So Sullivan actually might have dropped off the overall podium, as we'll wait and see if cuts really change anything. Frank Jackson goes to 9th, Cade Matherly drops to 13th, so Hambrook and McLaughlin each gain a spot, and Prin, silver lining, I guess, gets 16th, so that's 5 points. He's going to lose 20 points this moto. Logan Leitzel, 4 rounds down, 48-point lead. He is almost 2 whole motos, or 1 full round, ahead of everybody in this 250 championship through 4 rounds of this championship. Yikes. It's going to be tough to dethrone that situation. Logan Leitzel may have already won himself a championship with the fantastic first 4 rounds he has put together here in the 2022 AMA Esport Motocross Championship season. Wow. All right, so 1 moto still to go. You guys are saying 0.00, so I think I missed something, but I will check the official results page and see what it is you're talking about. Oh, yeah. Jaden Wilson and Luke Sullivan tied on total time. 35, 24, 656 was their total time. But I believe, if I remember right, that tiebreaker will always go to the person who crossed the line first. I would have to check with JLV for a reference, but I believe that is how that goes. So Sullivan ended up going 5-4. Cooper Hunt went 2-5, so that's definitely second overall. 5-4 might be third. Jaden Wilson, we'll go back and see what he did. Jaden Wilson, 8-3. Johan Bordeaux got a 4th in the first moto. And then a 7th. So yeah, 5-4 for Luke Sullivan. Should be good enough for third overall. Cooper Hunt second on a 2-5, and Logan Leitzel with the win on a 3-1. But the big storyline is, of course, Nathan Prin finishing 16th in that moto. Crazy. All right. One more race left to go here tonight. It's 450 Moto number 2 coming up. You guys know it. You love it. The 450 class, the big dogs. Couple of laps. It was pretty close between him and Leclerc. Leclerc crashed 3 times on lap 15, and that opened the gap up from about 12 seconds to 40 to about 40 seconds. And Leclerc ended up crossing 38 seconds down. So lap time wise, yes, I get it. Johnson was faster, 2:02.9, but Leclerc did a 2:03.2. And I want to take a look at consistency statistics from this first moto as well, if I can. So Johnson had a 3.7 consistency, and Leclerc had a 7.4. So if Leclerc cleans it up and or starts with or in front of Johnson, we could see a different story in this second moto, and maybe a new overall winner as well. Just about loaded back into the server. There we go. So we can get a quick disconnect and reconnect for you guys here. I believe you actually landed on the podium, Luke. Trying to do the math, but a 4.5 would be to A3. So, similar situation here for Payson Johnson. He has won every single moto but the second moto at Fox Raceway, which Leclerc won. And he has won every overall this year as well. So, not the perfect season anymore after that second moto at Fox. But pretty perfect season so far in terms of overalls and the performance that he's been putting out as he busts a gnarly wheelie through the crowd over the top of the hill. That man right there, Tyler Lang, he needs a huge turnaround in the second moto after finishing 4th in the first one. Was not good whatsoever for the number 1 machine. But here we go, folks. Final race of the night. 450 Moto number 2 here at High Point. Can Leclerc make something happen against Payson Johnson? Well, Vial got a good start in the first moto. Let's see if he can do it again. 450 Moto 2 from High Point is underway. Yeah, pretty good through the middle. He's going to push Leclerc wide and down. Leclerc is down and off the bike through the first corner. Getting the whole shot. Unofficially, it did look like it was the 78 of Jacob Hubbard, but his teammate Braden Carter goes to the lead. So Vial just kind of went straight through the first corner. There's a huge pileup on the Carmichael double at the top of the hill, but it's Carter leading as they come down. Hubbard second, Whelan third, Blakely fourth, Farzaka, Holm, Lang with a good start, Brennan, Cooper, Heilman, Bull, Cavacuti, Pachon, Leclerc up ahead of Daniel Mills, Reed McYoung, Austin Bear, Jay Turner, Pablo Vial, Sam Goffin, Matthias Janis, Devin Davis, Blake O'Brien, Caden Gross, Dylan Copeland, Jack Haley, Cole Gress, Tanner Rogers, and then Payson Johnson, who is hung up on the 143 of Cole Gress right there in the corner. So Johnson with a whole bunch of work to do from 33rd. Well, we knew he was going to have to try to work for it after the way that start went down, but benefactor, I guess, is that Leclerc went down as well and also has some work to do, but less so than what Johnson has. We'll see where he crosses at the end of the first lap. But this could be big for Braden Carter. It just takes one. It just takes a moto win or something to just kind of light the fuse a little bit. It just has to click once for Carter to be like, yep, that's how you do it. That's how you win an outdoor race. That's how you put 30 minutes plus 2 together, whatever it takes. And he's going to try to do it right here, but not out of the woods early on in this one as teammate Bryce Whelan here up the inside trying to make a pass for the race lead. But for now, Carter is going to hold position as Whelan tucks to the outside and the teammates go 1-2 over the line at the end of lap number 1. Blakely third, Frizaka fourth, Lang fifth, Holmes sixth, Brennan seventh. Leclerc will cross unofficially in eighth, but lose that position to Heilman, so he'll go back to ninth. This is going to be so fascinating to see how this plays out, because so much lies on what happens with Payson Johnson. And like, I hate to do this, but I kind of want to go see how he works through the field here on the opening couple laps. So it looks like he crossed about 23rd or 24th at the end of the first lap. He's now 21st. And let's just see what he does. Jeez, look at the speed he carries down the hill, basically tripling to that bottom roller. We go from 21st to 18th in kind of the blink of an eye. This is what it's like to get a bad start, though. This is where no one wants to be. No one wants to have to do it. Look at the time he's gaining on the guys in front of him, though. Like, he's already put 3 seconds behind him or so. Scrubbing everything with relative ease. I'm just trying to soak this all in because the pace that he's running in traffic, 2:05.8, that's ridiculous. He's going so fast in and out of the corners. Pretty simple pass right there. He's going to tuck back to the inside, hook that rut really well, go up the inside to pass into 14th. I mean, you just watched him go from 21st to 15th, I should say. So he made 6 passes in a lap. And none of them were like, oh, gimme passes. Like, he passed all those guys straight up with just solid racecraft. That's insane. Look at how much drive he gets out of these corners, too. Hey, this is peak MX Simulator, folks. This is, you want to see how you play this game well, it's this. That's the final little sequence we're going to show right there as he makes a mistake and goes off the track. But I mean, that whole lap right there is just mesmerizing how fast he's going. Back to our leader, though, and has a bit of a gap to work with now. Not sure what happened with Bryce Whelan. Whelan was there for that whole last lap that we were on board there with Johnson, but now Carter has some breathing room to work with here, and he's going to try to work with it and pull out a bigger advantage if he can. Only 6 minutes down. We still have a lot of racing left to go. It's Whelan second, Blakely third, Frizaka fourth, Leclerc now into fifth, Adam Holmes sixth, Jack Haley seventh, Roy Mitchell here in eighth, John Heilman ninth, Mills 10th, Cavacuti 11th, Lang back to 12th, Vial 13th, and then Johnson. So yeah, I mean, Lang is already a sitting duck for Johnson himself. As Lang trying to work around Cavacuti on the 66 there. What's interesting about Cavacuti versus Lang is, let's just say they're both supposed to be orange bikes. Very different types of oranges. I don't know if that's done on purpose or not. Look at that move by Lang, and then still hooks that inside rut. And Johnson right behind him did the same thing to Pablo Vial. You gotta remember, Vial here wants to get on the box here today if he can. Third in the first moto was really solid there, as Payson Johnson slices up Dylan Cavacuti. Again, making it look way easier than it should be. And now laying onto the back tire of Daniel Mills with Heilman, I believe, and Jack Haley just ahead of him. That's Roy Mitchell, excuse me. Haley's teammate on the 270. There is Jack Haley, who is starting to reel in Adam Holm. Haley was 4th in the first moto. So Carter with a 6th place finish in the first moto probably won't factor in for the overall based on where everybody is right now, but definitely could play a bit of a podium spoiler depending on who finishes where. As Leclerc is now up into 4th and trying to reel in Chase Blakely for 3rd. Someone was just down. Was that Carter? It was. Our race leader was down. And here comes... Well, Whelan's taking the race lead. Braden Carter might lose 2nd to Blakely as well. No, they get together and they're both down. Carter's off the bike. Leclerc into 2nd. Verzaka goes to 3rd as Blakely remounts in 4th. Holman 5th. Haley now in 6th. And Carter drops to 7th. Then you got Heilman, Lang, and Johnson coming up to the top of the hill. But Lang just went down. Going to lose a couple spots to the JDR riders that he passed. And amazingly, Johnson, before even 10 minutes into this thing, is already into the top 10, working on John Heilman here for, I believe, 8th position. Doolies up to the top of the hill, and Johnson to the inside right there. Going to make that pass real simple. This is insane. Adam Holm was down. Johnson's just going to try to go around the outside of him. Bit of a mistake right there, I think, racecraft-wise. Holm's going to almost crash and give it back to him anyway, but I think Johnson could have just went right to the outside right there and made the pretty simple pass anyway. So Carter's trying to regroup and go after Kevin Verzaka. There's Jack Haley just ahead of them, and Blakely... So Blakely about 4 seconds off of Leclerc as he makes a small mistake, and Haley's going to try to take advantage. Inside for Haley. Nearly side by side with Blakely into the quad. Neither rider wanting to really throw it out there very far because they don't know which direction the other rider behind them is going to go. But Blakely does eventually secure that position just by a nose on Jack Haley. Good little fight here, though, for 3rd place. And Carter might be riding a little bit pissed off from that mistake that he made, has already started to close the gap down from 5th. So he has gotten around for Verzaka, and while Blakely and Haley go toe-to-toe and focus on each other, well, Carter was starting to close up, and then he went down on the right-hander in the background. So nix that. And instead, Lang and Johnson will likely have just gotten to Carter or around him as well. As we continue to watch the close fight here for 3rd. .6 seconds for Whelan out front. Leclerc starting to reel him in a little bit here and there, I should say. Haley far inside line, fades out. Blakely a little bit more momentum up the hill, but Haley good speed through the right-hander into this left-hander. Outside to outside move. Turns to the inside through this corner. And Blakely is really fighting it back, though, and is going to hold that position. Very respectful racing between the two of them. Now Haley jumps to the outside, but I think Blakely hooked that inside well enough to hold position. And indeed, he has done so. This is a good fight, though. I like that Haley didn't force the issue when he had the inside line going to that corner. He could have pushed out to more or less the main line, which is the 2nd rut. But boy, oh boy, these guys are really going at it for 3rd. Haley again with that far inside line. Going to pull nearly even again, but he's a little bit further ahead this time. Oh, it's close, but Haley this time could close the door, maybe? No, Blakely from the outside actually gets back there, goes off the track. This time Haley's not playing. He'll go to the inside, push Blakely out, finally take over 3rd place. Terrific back and forth action between the two of them, though. And all fair play in the end, because even though Blakely made a mistake and went off the track, he didn't really forced the issue back on Haley after that. So I like that fight. It was a good sequence of passing between those two. And in the end, Haley will take over third place. So for Zaka 5th, Lang 6th, Carter back to 7th, Heilman 8th, Holm 9th, and then yes, Johnson, saw someone in chat say that Johnson may have went down. He did indeed go down. He's now back behind Holm, but I don't want to stick here for long because I think the lead has changed. It has. Alexis Leclerc has taken over the front spot here and checks in out front with a 2:04.4. So 2:04.4 Leclerc, a 2:12.7 for Whelan. He definitely went down at a 2.5 second lead now, about 6 seconds down. So yeah, 8.5 seconds. Quick fall off crash is all it takes. Haley still with the fastest lap of the race at a 2:03.6. Does a 2:07.6 that last time by 2:09.1. Blakely 2:05 flat. Tyler Lang starting to feel the flow on this racetrack. This is a much better version of Lang than we saw in the first moto, that is for sure. And now Johnson lays a 2:05.1 down of his own up into 6th place. Gotten around Heilman, Holm, Carter. Carter did a 2:04.6 as well, so Carter's got the pace in there. Taps the rear tire of Adam Holm and swings outside, then gets taken to the ground as Zaka comes through. So these guys are all just getting tossed around a little bit. That is Blakely, who just went down. So Lang and Johnson both going to go around him. Oh, and Whelan's back to the lead. Leclerc went down. Yeah, we have got to stick on the lead battles a little bit more because I don't know where Leclerc went down, but suddenly Haley's not too far behind him. And our new leader once again, Bryce Whelan. So Whelan 11th in the first moto. Highly doubt even a race victory is going to get him the overall podium at this point. Again, I mean, Johnson, Leclerc, Haley, 1, 2, 4 in the first moto are all pretty much right at the front. Pablo Vial was 3rd in the first moto, but he's a little bit ways down. Adam Holm was 5th, Carter 6th, Reno Brennan 7th, Chase Blakely 8th, John Heilman 9th, and Tanner Rogers was 10th. As a reminder of what happened in the first 450 moto, but I think Whelan just did a little bit too much damage with his 11th to miss the podium, even if he were to win this moto, which still seems like it's a long shot with Leclerc trying to close up from behind. And now the battle for 4th is on, and more or less battle for 2nd in the championship, though you can't really call it that because right now Johnson is so far ahead of everybody else in the championship. It's a very similar situation to what we're seeing out of Logan Leitzel. Outside move for Johnson. Going to try to square off maybe Lang. Contact and Johnson down. That may have looked a bit dirty for Lang because he kind of stood up and then laid it back down. But that was simply the rear tire. He kicked out of the rut and it stood him back up. So then when he went to lay it back down, he laid it into Johnson and Johnson goes down. So Blakely, Holm, Heilman all through, and then for Zaka just behind Johnson now. And Johnson going to quickly repass Heilman. Ooh, that was real close coming down the hill. Trying to get back up on Blakely as well. Jeez. That's crazy. Look, he just passed basically 3 guys way fast. 4 corners maybe or so it took him. Wow. Long gap though up to the leaders now is probably the real story that Johnson's gonna have to deal with. I hesitate to say that a race victory is off the table, but I don't know, man. It's tough to doubt Payson Johnson at this point with what he's proven he can do so far on an MX Simulator racetrack in 2022. So Whelan slowly starting to fall under attack from Alexis Leclerc as we have crested into the second half of this moto. There is 13.5 minutes plus 2 laps left here in 450 moto number 2. And Leclerc right now, what he's really eyeing up that's kind of important is he would take away Johnson's perfect overall record right here and right now, which for Logan Leitzel is still intact in the 250 class. He is 4 for 4. Johnson is 3 for 3 and won the first moto, but Leclerc, if he wins this second moto, even if Johnson finishes second, yet another second place finish for him, Leclerc win would guarantee him the overall with a 2-1 score versus a 1-2. Tiebreaker always goes to the second moto. And that is kind of what is hanging in the balance here for how much work Johnson still has to do and where Leclerc is as he tries to reel in Whelan. But kudos to Whelan, man. He responds every single time you see Leclerc close up a little bit more. Whelan pulls it back out. So Johnson now just laid down a 2:03 flat a lap ago, but then had that crash, so a 2:12.3. But that is also crazy. A 2:12.3 with a crash. And he seems maybe a tad angry right now with his riding, I would say. Got the gap down to 4 seconds ahead. And remember, it is Tyler Lang who is next for Johnson to focus in on. And you remember the last time those two were on the same stretch of racetrack? Well, they got together. I don't believe Johnson will think it was intentional, but again, don't know. And I don't know how he'd approach that situation, whether or not he would just try to quickly pass Lang and not worry too much about it. Jeez. Still gets that inside rut. Pretty curious what this lap is right here. Holy crud! 2017. We are in qualifying lap territory, ladies and gentlemen. That's faster than Johnson qualified. He did a 2:01.9 in qualifying. And just did a 2:01.7 in the race. The fastest lap so far on the racetrack, though, 2:01.4 out of Leclerc in qualifying. What are we even watching right now? Again, I didn't want to say it. There's still 10 minutes left. Did not want to say that the race victory was out of the cards just yet because, again, I'm looking at the track map, how much time is being gained by Johnson. It would be ridiculous, but if he just keeps doing something similar to this, he could catch the leaders, but that is going to hurt him a lot right there as he lays it down and goes from 2.8 to 6.5 back, so just lost about 4 seconds in a slide out. That's what happens when you're pushing the pace, though. Little things like that start happening. Oh, Jack Haley's down on the step up. On the backside right there. You can't see him. He's laying off in the trees, and he's going to lose a spot to Lang and Johnson. So Johnson now up to 4th, and pirouettes just like that back to 5th. So Lang's up to 3rd. Leclerc's still 2nd, and Bryce Whelan is still leading this race. As we approach past now the 20-minute mark, so we have 9 minutes and 2 laps left to go in this thing. Bryce Whelan feeling comfortable. I mean, Leclerc just doesn't have an answer just yet, I guess. Perhaps lap traffic will come into play. And now it actually does seem like Leclerc has reeled him in just a little bit, but then a small mistake right there. Leclerc's going to jump to the outside of this downhill. Guess just to ensure that he has the drive to carry it all the way down the hill to the bottom. And Bryce Whelan now in front of him, a little bit of a sitting duck. 2.5 seconds remains the gap. Lang a little bit further back, 10 seconds behind them. And of course the Haley-Johnson battle, which we'll get back to shortly. But I feel like this is slowly building to a bit of a crescendo. I feel like Leclerc is just reeling him in inch by inch. 205.6, 205.4, matching pace. Guess we'll get a lap time check right here, and we'll get a real indication of actually whether or not Leclerc's catching him. Whoa. Little front end slide coming out of the corner. This track is getting pretty brutal. .207.9, 207 flat. All right, so Whelan, I mean, there was a mistake there at the end for Leclerc, but Whelan has got it figured out as Lang goes down in third. There goes Johnson. And Haley goes by. Did Carter get there? Where is Carter? Wow, Carter's lost a few more spots. He's behind Blakely and Holm and Frzaka. So Carter went from battling up there, unless I'm reading it. No, right, Haley was the one up there. Excuse me. And Johnson now off the side of the track, so Haley's going to go into third. Now I'm starting to think the win is not possible. He's like 4 straightaways behind race leader Bryce Whelan, and he's making mistakes as well. So I think we can maybe finally put to rest that situation just a little bit. Oop, oop. Tyler Lang, whoops, to the outside. You know, normally a lot of these guys right now, Lang, Leclerc, you would think that they would maybe start to feel a little bit defeated based on how well Johnson's riding this year. The point situation certainly plays a bit of a factor. But I like to see that both Lang and Leclerc, in both motos so far, whenever Johnson is around them or passes them, they fight right back. Even if they're already 45, 50 points down, whatever it is, they're not willing to let Johnson just have this all his own way. And look at him just scrubbing so hard that little single. Trying to close up to Jack Haley for third place. Oh, Haley, a bit of a slide out. Johnson's going to sneak to the outside. Is it enough? Yes, it is. And another mistake out of Haley. So Johnson into third place. Oh, and our leader has changed. Leclerc has gone to the front. So that pass for Johnson, a 1-3 would have been a 2-2, but Leclerc is now on a 2-1. So again, Johnson, the only thing he can do here is win to stop Leclerc from beating him to the overall. He's 18 seconds down of Whelan, so about 21.5 seconds behind Leclerc. No, excuse me. Leclerc just went down again, and Whelan has retaken the lead. What is happening right now? So Leclerc did a 205.8 last time by. Whelan did a 214.8, so he went down. 208.3 for Johnson, but he also had a couple slide outs. This is a really weird race, but for Bryce Whelan, this is falling back into his lap a little bit for a potential first 450 moto win of his career as we close up on the final 3.5 or so minutes of this one. Oh, a little mistake. Whelan pushing off the track. So Johnson now down to 13.4 seconds down. And I think, again, what we're going to start seeing here is qualifying laps. Just a hunch. I think he wants to put down a couple 202s if he can. Feel pretty good about that. Just make Leclerc and those guys up there think about the fact that Johnson is back here. Again, overall win back into Johnson's favor right now at a 1-3 versus Leclerc's 2-2. So maybe Johnson's best friend, I guess, is Bryce Whelan. Lap time check with coming to probably 5 to go. 4 to go. Before to go. 2:03.2. 2:15.1 out of Leclerc, 2:05.5 out of Whelan. So 2 seconds gained back on Whelan right there alone, and he's 13 seconds down with 4 to go. Not enough, but a small mistake from Whelan, small mistake from Leclerc. Again, Johnson could still win this moto. Look at that. That's crazy. Look at how much speed he carries through that entire section. Almost launches to that last bump coming down the hill. And now has the gap to Leclerc under 10 seconds. I mean, you can just hear it. You can hear it in his riding how much he's pushing. It's that constant over rev through each corner. Oh! Rear end kick out. That's going to cost him some time. Wait a minute. And Whelan just went down. So Whelan coughs up the lead again, and Leclerc goes back to the front, which puts Leclerc back in the overall win position. And with time slowly running out here, they're coming to 3 to go almost for sure, unless there's a sequence of crashes right here. We still have 40 seconds on the clock and 2 turns left to go. So yes, 3 to go this time by. Next time after this flag, or after this time through the finish line area, I should say. So 3 to go right now. Next time by, they will get the 2-lap board. Johnson's still pushing 7.2 back of Whelan. And even with a slide out, runs a 2:05.5 to a 2:14.9 and a 2:07.1. So another 2 seconds gained on Leclerc that lap, but it could have been 4 seconds gained if he didn't make a small mistake right there. I'd like to watch other stuff, but I just feel like this is so determinative of really the overall, but kind of the season, I guess, in a sense, because this is a big opportunity for Leclerc to just say, like, look, I'm still here. I can still win these races. I can still win these overalls. If Johnson, with 3 to go here, pulls this gap down and wins this thing, I don't think there's much anybody's going to say about this title this year. It might already be that way. I get it with the championship points the way they are, but what a impressive job that would be for Johnson to get the gap all the way down even. I mean, look at that. Look at how much speed he carries out of that corner. At this point in time, he is close enough to Leclerc that if Leclerc crashes, he'll pass him. But he's not close enough to Leclerc to pass him on merit, of course. So he's got to keep pushing. He's got 2.5 laps to make it happen. And interestingly enough, Bryce Whelan's kind of catching Leclerc again. Jeez, Johnson. Jeez, how is he not going down right there? Are you serious? How does he still get that inside rut? Yeah, we got to battle for the lead, folks. We got to go back to the front. Whelan is catching Leclerc with the 2-lap board being displayed. Lap traffic trying to move aside, But Bryce Whelan's taking some chunks of time out of Leclerc, and here comes Johnson. 2:03.5, 2:05.6, 2:07.3. 4 seconds gained as Whelan goes down the second corner. Johnson is going to pass into second place. Nobody stands between Leclerc and Johnson anymore other than 6 seconds of time. Does Johnson have enough time to make it happen? If the lap times are anything to go by, he just pulled 4 seconds off of Leclerc in a single lap. He does it again this time by. He's within 2 seconds with 1 lap to go in this race. Problem is, there is some lap traffic in his way right here. He's going to need those guys to move really quickly out of the way. So much speed being carried. He needs these lappers out of the way very quickly. Down to 4.7. One more lapper to get by, and then clean air separating him and Leclerc. And Leclerc has no more lappers that he's going to hit, at least for a little bit here, as Johnson gets a little high-centered on a rut. It's just those minute details as, again, he kind of double clutches there. This downhill is going to be huge because this is where Johnson's been gaining a ridiculous amount of time. He'll launch down to this roller and then get these 3 rollers just clean enough to get that inside rut. How did he not go down? Lost a little bit of time, though. So that was, I think, critical right there. All right, white flag is waving. Leclerc takes it with 1 lap to go. 2:05.8, 2:07.5, 4.4 seconds. Johnson needs a lap of a lifetime to catch Leclerc and keep his overall streak alive and make it 6 moto wins in a row following his second place finish in the second moto at Fox Raceway earlier this year. 3.8, 3.4, 3.1, 2.7. And Leclerc is certainly visible now. You can see that little white flash just going over the roller ahead of him. So much speed being carried through the ruts. Down under 2 seconds. Oh, that's it. Johnson gets kicked sideways. I don't know how he didn't fall off the bike, but that's probably enough. Man, oh man, that mistake doesn't happen. I think he catches him. Leclerc's still kind of tiptoeing a little bit. It's not entirely over just yet, but it is out over 4 seconds again. So Johnson needs a ridiculous 5-6 corners here to make it interesting. Again, no lap traffic will be caught, so Leclerc will not be balked by that. And I think Johnson at this point, he's pushing too hard. He's making too many mistakes. Gosh, he got so close by the end of it, too. He's still trying against all hope, getting it as close as he possibly can. I mean, cuts, right? Penalties. You never know. Look at how much he's going to send it down this downhill, though. Leclerc's still going to try to hook that inside rut. He's got it. Johnson flies into the corner. This is how close it got at the end, folks. But Leclerc, with 1 turn to go, is going to win the second moto at High Point. Johnson ends up 1.5 down at the line, and the 2 collide. Bryce Whelan is going to wonder what the heck kind of tornado just went through him, because he had a shot at winning this moto, and those guys put some time on him. So Whelan crosses the line 3rd. Jack Haley's going to go down. That's going to be 4th place for Lang right there. So 14-4 on the day. Not necessarily how the champ would have drawn it up, but at least something to salvage in the second moto, because it was a dismal performance otherwise. As Jack Haley will end up in 5th. Adam Holm coming to the line. He will get 6th. Pablo Vial ends up 7th, so a 3-7 for Vial. So 3-7 Vial. Don't think that's going to be enough for, well, 4-5 for Haley. Adam Holm 5-6. Maybe? Bryce Whelan's 11-3 isn't going to beat the 3-7. Pablo Vial might have a podium here. Dylan Cavacuti 8. Verzaka 9. Castellaneta 10. Carter 11. Daniel Mills 12. Pichon 13th. Blakely 14th. Carpenter 15th. Reno Brennan 16th. Ooh, last corner pass? No, it was Rakovsky, but John Heilman was 17th. Oh, no, it was. It was an attempt at a last corner pass, but Rakovsky goes down before the line. Tanner Rogers gets 19th. Caleb Hall will get 20th. And cuts are coming in. Johnson gets it on cuts. A 1-1 performance. 0.08 was the difference. Leclerc with 2.54 seconds of cuts. Johnson had 0.9 of a second. Wow. So Johnson, 6th moto win in a row, 7th win on the season, 4th overall win of the year, extends his championship lead by another 6 points over Leclerc specifically, because Lang has lost 2nd place in the championship. So let's go ahead, give you guys a real quick synopsis of the point standings. As Johnson was 43 points ahead of Leclerc, he just gained another 6 points, so he is now 49 points ahead of Leclerc after just 4 rounds. So almost, again, just like the 250 class, almost 2 full motos, 1 full day of racing ahead in the championship at this point for Payson Johnson. But he does get the overall win, as penalties were applied post-race, and Leclerc loses it by 8/100ths of a second. Crazy. Wow. What a night. What a day. What an event. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I certainly did, watching it here from the commentator's seat. And man, Payson Johnson definitely made that one interesting and is afforded a 1-1 performance on the day. So 2 lawyer wins here tonight. Pretty rare that we see that, but all 4 motos that we watched here tonight had some very exciting finishes. And we're glad that we could bring you guys the coverage, and hopefully you enjoyed watching along with us. Again, a big shout out to Init Esports and Race Factor Gaming for putting this series on. Thanks to all of you that tuned in tonight, whether you're watching on Start Your Systems on YouTube, Init Esports on Twitch, or ESTV or ESTV Plus. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Really enjoyed presenting the show to you guys, and hopefully you did as well. That is High Point now done and dusted, and next up will be Redbud. Yeah, Redbud next week. So Redbud next week, before the Redbud National, will finally be back ahead of schedule, more or less, instead of 1 week behind. And yeah, crazy night of racing. Good fun all around. High Point behind us, Redbud coming up, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place, and having a lot of fun doing it. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for the Redbud National in MX Simulator. So long for now.